put paid to that when they convincingly beat them here on their home turf, the recreation ground, last week. And then it was almost a carbon copy when we went into Sunday for the first semi-final. Even though Rovers got off to a quick start, they were chipped back or pulled back by their opponents in Northampton. But Northampton couldn't go the distance, and that has been the problem with Rovers in recent times, that they ran out of puff. But their last quarter last week, Glenn, was magic, and they ended up winning by an impressive 40-plus points. So coming into this game, they'd have to be favourites.
They are favourites, there's no doubt about that. They won, as you said, by 42 points. They kicked 8 goals in the last quarter, so they're full of running. But conditions are good today. The ground has held up pretty well considering the amount of weather we've had in recent times, and also the amount of football the recreation ground has had. The Railways are warming up at the northern end of the ground. I'm sticking with Railways. I think Railways have been the best side throughout the home and away season. They've had the wood on Rovers previously this year, but I know this is probably the best Rovers side Rovers have had. So it's fair to say they're an exciting side. When you look through the Rovers lineup, you've got Josh Simpson, you've got Gabriel Parfitt, you've got Farron Parfitt, you've got Joey Ugle, and you could really talk up their prospects. You've got Shannon Cox up forward, you've got Chris Scott in the middle of the ground. Railways are a more complete team in the fact that they haven't got the superstars. They probably would say that Mitchell Boyle and Jesse Adamini are their stars, and they are very good players. The rest players are workmanlike, they play as a team. But it's going to be interesting. Conditions are going to be pretty warm out here this afternoon at Warren Taylor Holmes Recreation Ground. So Railways, we do know, are super fit. They would be disappointed bitterly with the way they performed last week. It wasn't all to do with them because Brigades were very good, but Railways, I think, are a better side than they showed last week. They've showed throughout the year they have been able to have some lulls and come back and win some games. So I'm going to stick with Railways. I think you play the home and away season for a good reason. Generally, if you play good home and away season, you are generally a pretty good side. And Railways as a team are pretty good. But when you look at the star power of Rovers, they are just star-studded, Peter, and there's lots and lots of good Rovers players, and you could really make a case for Rovers this afternoon.
Yeah, almost 21 degrees in the city, Glenn. As I said, a slight breeze favouring the Augusta Street end. That's coming from the south or the southwest, and we are expected probably maybe to have a shower or two before the end of the game. So the clouds are hovering when we've got the beautiful sunlight, but outside of that, out there are some dark clouds looming to the east of us. So we'll find out if that is going to continue, and there is a possibility of rain before the end of the game. So, as I said, great conditions for football. Glenn, the crowd, we've been using a lot of conjecture about the crowd in the finals due to the fixturing of the GNFL and other sports this weekend.
Yeah, I don't think the crowd today will be as big as it would be if it was played on a Sunday because there's so much competing. We know that there's AFL footy on TV. Jesse Adamini has won the toss. Jesse Adamini doing the toss for Railways. Farron Parfitt doing the toss for Rovers. Railways will kick to the city end. Yeah, getting back to the game being played on Saturday, the Chapman Valley Show is on today. We know that the Buccaneers are playing in Perth tonight. We know Fremantle Dockers are playing in Perth this evening, so a lot of people have travelled to Perth and they would have been back for the games had they been tomorrow. So I'm just thinking that the GNFL need to put this behind them and maybe next year fixture the games on a Sunday. They shouldn't be competing with community shows such as the Chapman Valley Show, which has got a massive crowd there again this afternoon, and many of them would have loved to have come to the footy because many of them are football followers, but they naturally are taking the children and their families to the show to have a fun day out as they have done in many years. So it'll be interesting to see, but still a very healthy crowd. I'm not saying it's a poor crowd by any means.
And Glenn, one of the things that we won't have to put up with today is technology.
No, that's right. The technology is very, very good here. And we
rely on our umpires.
That's right. And our umpires, they get paid to make a decision, and they make a decision, which is great to see. So it's very, very good indeed. Railways are breaking up from the huddle. Matthew Powell has given them the last instructions. Rovers are breaking up at the southern end. They're in a huddle, and their captain is having a few words to them. And Rovers wanting to get the job done. The Rovers Colts side, they were expected to get into the grand final, sitting on top of the premiership table, didn't make it. So now it's left to the Rovers seniors to get their side into the final. So the breakup is pretty good next weekend. Just looking through the clubs, 6 clubs are already entrenched in the women. Chapman Valley playing Northampton, Towns playing Mullawa, Railways playing Northampton, and who will be up against Brigades in the league game. Brigades, the reigning premiers, they're sitting back there. And I saw Corey Foote at the footy a few moments ago, and Corey will be sitting back and dissecting both these sides because he'll come up with a plan that sees the Brigade side go back and start clear favourites in the grand final. But we'll see something today, an opportunity for us to see two very good sides go at it. Railways up against Rovers. Joey Ugle and his counterpart Jesse Adamini congratulate each other on being here this afternoon, and they're about to get this game underway. Umpire Robert Bennett, the senior umpire this afternoon, along with son Theo Bennett and co-umpire Stephen Pratt. We're about to get the game underway. Preliminary final day of the GNFL, the Active West Real Estate season, and the ball is in the air. And the way they go at it goes the way of Letessia, goes the way of Adams. He gets it away to Gabriel Parfitt. Rovers go forward. In goes Mitchell Boyle. Ball spills to Drew Tunbridge, playing at half-back. He gets it out to Letessia. Letessia goes across the ground and has picked out a player there in Elliot Delaney. Elliot Delaney plays on quickly, gets it up towards half-forward, looking up there for some run, but Railways, Mitchell Boyle's in best position. He goes forward with the ball. Ball comes back towards Newton. Newton gives it to Jesse Moore. Jesse Moore shoots it around the corner, up towards full forward. But out comes Kobe Simpson, slaps the ball forward, goes the way of the player there in Cashard for Railways. Ball spills out, comes the way of Joey Ugle, and Joey Ugle clears the pack and gets it up towards a teammate there in Chris.
Chris Scott gets the ball and kicks it down the Francis Street wing. There's a bit of a contest, comes off hands, and the ball will be thrown in from that indiscretion. In fact, there was an indiscretion on the Rovers player, so maybe Joey Ugle, I think, is getting the free kick. The ball is coming back. Well, it might be a Railways free kick. We'll just find out what happened there. So the ball about to be brought back in. In fact, it went over the boundary. So the ball will be thrown in from the Francis Street side. Chris Scott Glenn will be very important in the Rovers machine today. One of the best players, marquee players in the competition. The ball coming out of the pack, though, goes away now of Messina. Messina for the Blues. Puts it up into the rain. A bit of a rainmaker as it comes down in front of the scoreboard, comes off hands and spills over the boundary once again. Scoreboard for Adam Hunter and Newfab. At the moment, there is no score for either side. Glorious conditions here at the recreation ground, as I said. Weather is threatening later today, but brilliant sunshine. About 21 degrees here in downtown Geraldton. In comes the ball now, players setting themselves. Comes out of the pack, goes back toward the boundary, off the boot of a Railways player. Inside the corridor it goes, back to Messina. He sends it up toward the big sticks, comes off hands, and it looks like it is coming off Simpson. That's Kobe Simpson, and he knocks it through for the minor score.
So the first score of the afternoon for Red Dust Holdings, and it goes the way of the Blues. Railways kicking to the city end. And their supporters on the Railways balcony will be looking for a better performance than last week.
Ooh.
Ball comes back into play. Comes now the way of the player there in Priolo. His kick is not a good one, so it's cut off there by the hard-running player Jack Eastoff, who's played the bulk of his football for the West Coast Waffle side this year. Goes up towards Joey Ugle. Goes the way now of Dwayne Neville. On centre wing, Francis Street side.
50-metre penalty, run across the man on the mark, Glenn.
A Railways player didn't stand his ground, so now Dwayne Neville has the ball on half forward, plays the ball forward, gets it up towards a teammate there in Curley. Curley centres the ball. Dylan Curley gets it to Eddie Curley, but a whistle on play, another 50-metre maybe, I don't know. It's going back towards Dylan. So Dylan Curley plays on, short pass. Eddie Curley still on his own, so I don't know what the Railways players are waiting for or watching at. And eventually the ball comes the way
He's
of
only
Eddie.
about 20 metres out from goal, Glenn, kicking toward the Shenton Street end on a reasonable angle.
So Eddie Curley shooting for goal from about 35 to 40 metres. And the big fella, Ryan Letessia, stands his ground. We know Eddie's a very well-known goal scorer. So Rovers, their opportunity to get their first of the afternoon on the major side, but it doesn't make the distance. Off hands, ball very close to the boundary line. Goes the way of Shannon Cox. He feeds a handball out, but the ball is out of bounds. There'll be a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for Rovers at the southern end of Warren Taylor Homes Recreation Ground. 3.5 minutes gone in this first term with thanks to Warren Taylor Homes. Ball back into play, goes the way of Cox. Shannon Cox slaps it to ground. A Railways player is tackled, has the ball held to him by Chris Scott, and umpire Pratt will come in and throw the ball up once more. So Pratt to put the ball into the air. This time Rovers get it through Adams. Adam knocks it to ground. Big pack around the ball. There's not much room in there. Ball spills. Picked up by Eddie Curley. Eddie Curley from 25 metres gets his first of the afternoon. And a very good start there to Rovers. And Eddie Curley gets his first of the afternoon. And on the scoreboard for Red Dust Holdings, it is Railways 1 behind, Rovers 1 goal straight.
Eddie Curley, I don't think we've seen the best of him so far this season, Glenn. He has threatened. Of course, he has been down playing in the metro area, but he is a star. A talent indeed, and roving off the pack there, beautifully collected it, and only knew where to kick it, and that was straight for the big sticks, and that is a first goal, first blood of the afternoon to Rovers. They are kicking against a slight breeze at the moment, Glenn, and they have 1 goal on the board. They are 1 straight goal, and Railways the 1 point. Back with umpire Bennett now. See what Railways can do here. Rovers looking good early. Dylan Curley knocks it down, but straight down the throat of Boyle. Boyle for Railways, kicks it into the half-forward area, looking for support there from Edwards. Edwards knocks it forward again. A teammate there is there to collect, but Rovers do the better as it goes backward of the centre square. Azevedo gets it. He kicks it outside. That big square in front of our broadcast position. Latassia has it now for the Blues. Gives it back to Kimberley. Kimberley sizes things up inside the corridor, but it goes away now of the Rovers player who had 2 to beat. Rovers may come out of this, and they do with Joey Ugle. He switches play. He comes out to the fat side of the ground. It looks like it's going the way of Rovers, or is it? Goes one way, then the other. Eventually it goes the way of the player there in the player there in Blake Messina. Messina sends it inside the corridor, and the mark is taken by Jesse Moore. So Jesse Moore playing up front for the Blues. He is a goal-scoring stager, Glenn. So Jesse Moore will kick from about 45 metres when he gets onto this one. He's kicking it toward the Augusta Street end. Jesse Moore, now a veteran with the Blues. Let's see what he can do. Looks pretty good off the boot, but maybe... It came back just in time to come inside the 2 big sticks, and Jesse Moore has scored the first goal of the afternoon for Railways. They are 1-1, and they lead Rovers 1 goal. An important kick there. Railways have got the breeze back in this first term. Important they start well. They didn't really fire up at all last week, and Railways getting the ball out of the centre. Mitchell Boyle being prominent there, and a good bit of play from Blake Messina, getting it up the field to Jesse Moore, and Jesse Moore finishing the ball off. So Jesse Moore playing at centre-half forward. They've started with Drew Tunbridge at centre-half back, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. In the centre, we've got star-studded side for Rovers. We've got Chris Scott, we've got Dwayne Neville, we've got Gabriel Parfitt, and we've also got Joey Ugle, while for Railways we've got Latassia, Mitchell Boyle, and also Jesse Adamini along with Clark. So the umpire is being asked what he blew the whistle for, the boundary umpire, the field umpire going over to talk to him. So a free kick will go the way of Rovers. A Railways player went over the line. So there goes the kick from Curley, looking for his brother Eddie. Eddie almost a good mark, but Eddie's in good form this morning. This afternoon looks like he's come to play. Eddie caught with the ball, but he gets a kick away. Goes the way of Mitchell Boyle. Boyle goes back across the ground, finds Elliot Delaney on half back on the Francis Street side. Elliot Delaney centres the ball now, looking there for a teammate, and finds that player. Good bit of play there from the player there in row. Gets it up the ground, looking for some movement, and the ball comes out now. Goes the way of a player. Umpires being asked, the free kick will go the way of Rovers, and Gabriel Parfitt is that player. Yeah, beautiful tackle he put on his opposite number. There is a call from the bench, and we've seen a 50-metre penalty be given to Rovers. So Rovers have scored 2 50-metre penalties to 0 at the moment in their favour, Glenn. So that's one for the books. So up comes now Gabriel Parfitt. He's right in front of our broadcast position. Of course, descent from the bench we saw last week. Yes. That being dealt with as it comes down the field now and goes away of Scott. As I said, Scott, one of the key players in the competition, and for Rovers, he tries to get it to Azevedo. Azevedo half-heartedly goes up to try and mark the ball. The ball goes into the pocket now. Rovers still have possession. They get it inside the goal square. It's picked up eventually by Matt Adams, and he toe pokes it through for another goal for the Demons. So a good bit of play there from Matt Adams. Well done, and Rovers were able to rebound another 50-metre, as you say, Peter. It certainly throws your structures out, and we've seen a couple now. So interesting scoreline on Red Dust Holding scoreboard. Railways
1 goal, 1. They trail Rovers 2 goals. So Eddie Cooley's kicked 1, and so too has young Matt Adams.
Ball back in the middle now. Players working hard. It is quite even in the middle of the ground, Glenn. It's when it gets outside that centre square that Rovers seem to have the better hands at this stage, and they're quicker in their forward 50. We're always relying on their structured play, as we said on Football Forum this morning, part of Sportshed Saturday for Mitchell and Brown. The ball going to Ugle out of the pack. A nice kick into the full forward area. Up goes the player there, and Matty Adams again. Beats 2, gives it away now to Joey Ugle. He's quickly set upon. Adams picks it up again, goes outside the centre square, has another bite of the cherry. Eventually he gets it to a teammate who puts it onto his boot into the half forward area. Up go a couple of players. At the back of the pack, it looks like it's going to go the way of Rovers, as we see Gabriel Parfitt move inside. He is dealt with as he goes to kick the ball, and that was a good and clever tackle in the end there, because it's upset Parfitt as he only had eyes for the goal square, and it went through for the minus score.
So another minus score to Rovers as the scoreboard rolls over for Red Dust Holdings this afternoon, one of the GNFL's sponsors in season 2022, as Tristan Simpson comes on for a run for the Blues. So Kimberley to send the ball out for the Blues for Railways, kicks it out towards the Francis Street half back line where he finds Letessia. Letessia goes by hand to Tunbridge. Tunbridge gets it from Adamini, who gets it on towards Boyle. Mitchell Boyle kicks it up towards half forward. Can Tristan Simpson get some of the ball while he's got it out there? Ball running free, just in front of the scoreboard on the Francis Street side. Umpire giving them plenty of time to get the ball out. They couldn't. And with 11 minutes gone in this first term,
Jamie Gear had 2 players on him then, Glenn, and he beat both of them.
So 11 minutes gone in this term. Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day, preliminary final day 2022. Good crowd here at the recreation ground, enjoying beautiful conditions after the rain overnight, and beautiful sunny conditions, probably pretty warm for the players. Time to look at the scoreboard, and with thanks to Red Dust Holdings, we can tell you that it is a very interesting scoreline indeed. Rovers are 2-1-13. They lead Railways 1-1-7.
This quarter brought to you by Warren Taylor Homes. Ball coming in, going the way of Ugle, off his boot into the corridor. That might not have been a good choice. Goes the way of a Railways boot, but back to Rovers. Off the half-back line, a bit of a rainmaker. Seen a couple of them today. Goes the way of Adams. Adams is racking up kicks early, but the mark is given to Latassia. I don't know. They both had a bit of it, I'd say. But Latassia gets the better of the umpire's decision. Going across the forward 50, a player is dealt with a little bit high. In fact, he's caught in possession. Jamie Gear, he's come to play, Glenn, one of the best defenders in the competition. As I mentioned to you off air, not much of him, but he gives 110%. The ball coming out now, the way of Eastoff. Joining us from the West Coast Eagles lineup. Played a few games for West Coast this year. Coming out the way of Neville now. Neville sends it inboard. I don't know who he's looking for. Joey Ugle was there. So was Latassia, the big man. Puts it onto his boot. Sends it into space. But there's Scott. He'll run onto this and he'll run like a gazelle. Scott goes one way then the other. Is almost curtailed in his efforts. He decides to go backward before coming forward. Comes inboard now. Goes away now of Eastoff. Eastoff is almost caught as he gives it away now to Parfitt. That's Farron Parfitt. He goes backward too. Off the half-back line it goes away of Prosser. Prosser now gives it away to a teammate on the outer side. The Francis Street side of the ground. They send it down to the wing. Down comes the player there for Rovers who couldn't take the mark. Goes over his head. It's picked up now by Tunbridge. He gets around a couple of players. He bounces once, twice. He's on the Francis Street side. Puts the boot down the field and he finds the player there in Tristan Simpson.
Tristan Simpson on centre wing. Kicks it up towards full forward. Looking up there for some movement. Cocking's there. Ball goes over the back. Goes the way of Adamini. Adamini shoots on goal, but he is offline, out of bounds on the full. So not a good shot from
Pretty
Jesse.
good attempt. He doesn't waste any time, does he?
No, he's a good player, and he tried. That's all he can do. And he usually gets it on the right side. He didn't on that occasion.
2-1 plays 1-1. The Demons in front. 13 and a half minutes gone in the first term.
As the ball comes back in, Gear's the player to bring it back in. So Gear looking for some movement. Goes with a very short pass and finds the player there in Kobe Simpson. Kobe Simpson with the ball for the Demons. Comes out towards the grandstand side of the recreation ground. Adams goes up. Ball comes over the back. Picked up by Messina. Messina goes by hand. Advantage rule paid. Goes the way from one Kimberley. Peter Kimberley got it to Matt Kimberley. Matt Kimberley centres it and finds Mitchell Boyle. Boyle kicks it up the ground. Finds Jesse Adamini. Adamini plays on quickly. Goes the way of Jesse Moore. Can Moore get his second goal of the quarter? Yes, he can. And Jesse Moore gets his second goal, and Railways get a much-needed goal with the breeze at their back in this first term. Although the breeze isn't that strong, it's still pretty handy.
About 2 goals, Glenn.
And on the scoreboard with our friends, thanks at Red Dust Holdings, we can say the scores are level. 2-1, 2-1. 2-1 to Railways, 2-1 to Rovers. 13 points apiece on our Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. This first term with thanks to Warren Taylor Homes from Warren Taylor Homes Recreation Ground.
Jesse Adamini figuring predominantly in that passage of play, finished off by Jesse Moore. The ball back in the middle now. He'll be well and truly marked in this game, will Adamini. As we've mentioned in recent weeks, one of the few avenues we can see to goal for the Blues. If he is stopped, hopefully it cuts off their supply to the goal area. The ball up in the middle it goes. It's won on this occasion by Rovers, but coming through the pack is the player there in Noah Cashard. The youngster from Dongra gets it to a teammate there, puts it onto his boot into the full forward area, but it's marked by Simpson. Bo Simpson now. He switches play out to the outer side. Looks like it's another player out there that knows what he's doing. That's another Simpson. That's Josh Simpson. Down the wing he goes. He's looking for the player there in Ugle. It was almost like textbook stuff, but Ugle marked it before he got it. Eventually he gets the ball away to a teammate, puts it onto his boot, into the half-forward area it goes. Rovers can sniff a goal as it comes off hands, and a free kick will go the way of the defender for Railways on this occasion. So the ball is with Railways. Cox playing it full forward for the Demons. He gets it to Cashard. Cashard now looks for options downfield. Tristan Simpson moving to make position. He's very defensive though. Sees Boyle all on his lonesome. Boyle in the corridor, runs on now. He finds a teammate there, and that teammate's a good one to find anyway, and that teammate is...
Free kick to Mitchell Boyle, who has pulled off the ball.
Okay, it's a 50-metre penalty going the way of Railways. So Mitchell Boyle was dealt with when he got rid of the ball. So the ball is with Adamini, and he is dangerous. He'll come to have the ball just inside the centre square. Up they go. The ball is marked by Simpson again. So holding sway in defence at the moment of the Demons. As we said, it is the goal-scoring end. That is the Augusta Street end, but the breeze isn't that strong, probably 2 goals at the most. One would say Brigades have got the use of that, but Rovers have scored 2 goals against it as it goes into the corner now, picked up by Messina. Messina beats his opponent. He sends it inside the corridor. Up it goes away of Latassia. He doesn't waste any time, spins around and goals for the Blues.
So the Blues are starting to get a little bit of traction now. Ryan Latassia, he's been good this afternoon, gets his first of the afternoon, and he's very handy in the fact that he's a big man who can drop forward and finish off with a good goal there. So Railways, as we head towards the 17-minute mark of this first term, Railways on the Red Dust Holdings scoreboard. Railways are 3-1. They lead Rovers 2-1. So a good start for both sides. Still anybody's contest early in the game, this preliminary final. The prize, of course, is a berth in the grand final with Brigades next weekend. And for the loser, the season is over for season 2022. Umpire Pratt to put the ball into the air again in this first term. And Jesse Moore has moved from the forward line into the ruck now for the Blues, and he does well. Knocks it down, goes the way of Adamini. He gets it to Kimberley. Kimberley gets a short pass forward and finds Messina. Messina goes by hand to Jesse Adamini. He kicks it up towards full forward, looking there for Jack Cocking. Jack Cocking couldn't mark, but he's got a good reflex. He goes back out there looking for it, but the ball goes out of bounds. There'll be a boundary throw-in in the left forward pocket, about 35 metres around from the goals for the Railways side, just in front of the Railways club rooms. And the Railways club rooms would like to see the Railways players get a score on the board.
Pendulum is swayed in favour of the Railway side at this stage of the quarter. Adamini over the back of the pack inside the corridor. He fumbled though, and it's quickly brought to ground by Simpson. The umpire says they'll both hit it. There'll be a ball up just inside the forward 50, right in front of goals here for the Blues. Umpire Bennett officiating this afternoon. Latassia cleverly knocks it out into space, but it only goes away of Rovers' hands at the back of the pack. It's picked up now. Rovers have space as they send it out the way of Criddle. Criddle on the wing didn't take the mark. He's got 2 to beat. What can he do? The youngster does well, but then loses it in the final analysis of that passage of play. Goes away of Jesse Moore. He gets it away too. That player in Boyle. Boyle wastes no time. Sends it inside the corridor, but it's marked by Gabriel Parfitt, who switches play, and he sends it out to the broadcast side of the ground, where it's almost picked up by Prosser. Prosser a little bit out of sorts in the last couple of weeks, Glenn. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going. He actually should have picked the ball up and ran with it, but he tried to knock it on and then changed his mind. And as we see, indecision causes a few problems.
Yeah, I think Ben Prosser, they're trying to play him at centre-half back. I'm not sure that he likes to be a defender.
No.
I think he's better across the midfield, but they've got a pretty strong midfield, and he's got a good body, so they're trying to use him in a key position. Ball comes the way of Ugle. Ugle gets it up the ground, looking up there for Curley. But once again, Railways can rebound through Drew Tunbridge. He goes with a short pass, finds Elliot Delaney on centre wing. Francis Street side. Delaney steady, kicks the ball forward. Nobody there for the Blues. And a good mark taken there by the player doing well in young Blake Tazwell. Yep. Blake Tazwell plays on, gets a kick forward, goes the way now of another player out there in Azevedo. He gets it out wide, finds a teammate. Short pass from the Rovers player up towards a teammate there in Curley. Whistle on play, and the umpire's seen a free kick. It'll go the way of Jack Eastoff, who gives it back towards Curley. So Curley has the ball, and Curley has the opportunity from 60 metres to get the ball into the forward 50. Pack into the air. Railways in best position. Ball spills. Goes away of Farron Parfitt. He put boot the ball, and he put the ball down on the ground. Picked up now by Railways, and Railways get it back out towards centre wing, where Jack Cocking goes by hand there to Matt Kimberley. Matt Kimberley gets it up the ground, finds Alex Newton. Newton on the backward side of the square, kicks it up towards forward, and a beautiful mark, strong mark, under a lot of pressure. Jesse Adamini marks in front of James Gear, and a good mark indeed, under a lot of pressure. 20 minutes gone in this quarter. First term, and we're into time on in our match of the day on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. So Railways can get another score on the board, an important kick indeed. So let's see how it goes. Waiting on the ball to come forward. Big kick, a good one. Goes the way there of the young player who gets it through for a minus score. So an opportunity there. So scoreboard rolls over once again for Red Dust Holdings. So a minus score from Jesse Adamini. Jesse would have appreciated a goal. He deserved it after taking such a strong mark.
The ball coming out of defence now. Rovers dodged a bullet there, one would think. Kobe Simpson sends it out in front of the scoreboard where it's marked by Scott. As I said, he'll be important for the Demons. Down the line he goes. Finds a player there in Criddle. Criddle now. Just in fact, it's Eastoff, just in front of the defensive 50. Rovers having to go ultra defensive in the middle stages, the late stages of the first term. They started the game in fine fettle, getting the first 2 goals, but since then have been pegged back somewhat. The ball going forward now as I say that, into space, going back the way now of Railways. Kimberley puts it onto his boot, sends it inboard, and it's Edwards who takes the mark. Shaden Edwards comes across, looks for Blake Bunter, the youngster with the helmet. Oh, geez, he didn't mark that, but the umpire paid it. He plays on now into the half-forward area, and the mark is taken by Norton. Norton now spins around, puts it onto his boot, up toward the goal square it goes, but in the last line of defence, Kobe Simpson steps up and makes sure the ball is knocked forward. It's picked up by Gear now. Gear kicks it out of defence, down the wing, up they go, and it's marked by the Railways player, and it's Newton. Newton pushes the player off the mark in Criddle. I think it's Alex Newton, isn't it?
It is Alex.
Yep, Alex Newton. He's got his granddad's shorts on. That's how I can pick him out. So Alex Newton is going to have a shot on goal now. He's kicked a few goals this season, has Newton for the Blues. So at the moment, the Blues, I think, getting on top and rattling the Demons a little in the first term as we head to the first break. But if he gets this goal, they certainly have ascendancy as we go to that break in just a moment.
Good
the kick's
goal.
A good kick by Newton. He goes around the player on the mark, puts it straight through the middle, and now that sees Railways go to 4-2, and they lead Rovers 2-1.
You mentioned Alex Newton. He's kicked a few goals this year. He's kicked 29, in fact. So that is another goal to Alex Newton, and a very good goal too from a fair distance out. He put a lot of work into getting that goal. So as we head into time on, interesting scoreline here. Time on in this big game with thanks to Warren Taylor Holmes in this first term. And on the Red Dust Holding scoreboard, it is Railways 4-26. They lead Rovers 2-1-13.
We'll get an update on what's happening. There's a bit of a commotion on the hill involving, I think, a Rovers player, Glenn. But
Rovers player?
Yes, we'll have that back updated very, very soon. And we won't give any names out just yet until we've got confirmation of that.
Okay, so So I would imagine the police are en route, and they'll be here as soon as they can. Ball comes back into play. Goes the way now of Joey Ugle. Joey Ugle grabs the ball now, kicks it up towards half forward, but once again, Railways are steady, and steadying the ship is Drew Tunbridge out there. Drew Tunbridge goes up towards centre wing where he takes a good mark. There's Jack Cocking. Jack Cocking plays on now, gets a short pass forward, looking for some movement. Ball comes out, goes the way now of a Railways player. Railways get the ball across the half forward. Ball running free. Goes the way of Blake Messina. Messina gets it by hand to Jesse Adamini. Adamini steady. Kicks it away of Shaden Edwards. And Shaden Edwards is 45 metres out. Shooting on goal. And Shaden Edwards can get another important goal for the Blues. Time ticking by in this first term. And Shaden Edwards will kick a very important
more going
goal.
on off the field than on the field at the moment, Glenn.
So Shaden Edwards to shoot on goal. An important kick for the Blues. They've got the breeze at their back, probably worth 2 goals in this first term, and they'll get good value for effort if he gets this one. So there goes the kick from Shaden. Won't make the distance, offline and off hands for a minus score. And on the scoreboard for Red Dust Holdings, we see that the scoreboard now is Railways 4 goals 3, and Rovers are 2 goals 1. 4-3 plays 2-1. On Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football, preliminary final day 2022.
Peter Forenza and Glenn Barney bringing you all the action of local footy. Don't forget to join us live and local from WA Country Builders Stadium from 8:30 next week for Sportshed Saturday. We will be broadcasting live right throughout the day from WA Country Builders Stadium. The ball's with Joey Ugle now. He's on the Francis Street side. Rovers sort of slowed a little. As I said, Railways have got the upper hand. Joey Ugle. 6s and 7s are where to send the ball. Puts it over the top. Rovers are rattled a little bit, Glenn. We'll find out more about what happened off ground earlier, but it has rattled the Demon side a little. It involved a player, and we'll get that confirmation when it comes to hand. I think I know who it is, but we'll wait to hear more about that. The ball's on the Francis Street side. Players setting themselves. Up they go. It's won by Teswell down to Adamini. He's getting a lot of possessions here this afternoon. He's been very important, especially in the first term for the Blues. And at quarter time, it is Railways in the preliminary final, 4-3, leading the Demons 2-1. And you're listening to Radio Mama. We are the home of GNFL football.
Our Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day is supported by our sponsors, Skeeters Restaurant and Cafe. Not only the best...
To find
And in earlier games today, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, we can tell you that in the Colts, Mullawa 9-11-65 defeated Rovers 7-2-44. In the reserves, Northampton 13-9-87 defeated Brigades 7-4-46. And in the women's game, Northampton through to another grand final. Northampton 4-2-26 had defeated Towns 2-7. So that's the scoreline. So at the moment, we got a lot of variations when it comes to finals footy. Who will make it through? Will it be Railways? Will it be Rovers? We're into the second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Umpire Pratt puts the ball into the air. And once again, Letizia wins it forward. Goes the way of a Rovers player who soccers it forward. Comes back towards Ugle. He gives it out to Azevedo. Ball comes back towards Dwayne Neville. Dwayne Neville gives a handball to Gabriel Parfitt. Parfitt quickly kicks it up to the forward, looking for brother Farron. Farron Parfitt chasing the ball towards the boundary line, but the boundary line comes up too quickly. So Rovers quickly into attack, and the ball is in the forward 50 for Rovers. And we're into the first 30 seconds of this second term.
Coach Ian Coleman would like a score early on the board. They didn't finish off the quarter very well, did the Demons. Rattled somewhat with what was happening on the hill and also losing a player. We'll hear more about that in dispatches, no doubt. The ball coming in, knocked down, and it looks like a free kick has gone the way of the Demons. And no, they're going to throw it up again. No, it's Eddie Curley. So Eddie Curley will shoot on goal. He's only about 35 metres out, Glenn, and he's kicking on a reasonable angle toward the Augusta Street end. So can they get first blood on the scoreboard in this quarter, the Demons? Eddie Curley looks pretty good off the boot. Going across the face of goal, though. Players setting themselves, and it's fisted through. In front of goal, it is the Railways player who keeps it in. Don't know if that was a good thing as the ball comes down into the passage of play, and there, Eddie Curley. It's Groundhog Day. He's going to have another shot at goal, Glenn.
So Eddie had a shot a few moments ago. So
he's almost in the exact same spot.
So Eddie said, give it a B. I reckon I can get it this time.
Yep,
so
give me another go.
He's been very good this afternoon. He's been in everything. There goes
That's
a kick from Eddie Curley. And he's hit the post. So a good effort there from Eddie Curley, but a minor score for Abrolhos Adventures in this second term. And it goes to 2-2 Rovers. They trail Railways 4-3. So the ball is just in front of the scoreboard as the Rovers player pushes the Railways player across the boundary line. And that is Tunbridge. And the ball will be thrown back into play about 55 metres around from the right point post at the city end of Warren Taylor Homes Recreation Ground. This second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. And the ball is coming back into play now. Ball slapped forward from the boundary throw-in. Rove beautifully by Adamini. His ball is cut off. Goes the way there of the Rovers player in Prosser. Prosser sends the ball in towards half forward, looking for Azevedo. Ball comes to the ground. In goes the Railways player. Once again, Eddie Curley picks it up. Roves it beautifully. Kicks it forward. But Jager Williams is there for the Blues and relieves the pressure once more.
It's two style of games that we're seeing here this afternoon, Glenn, as you'd expect. Run and stun is the Rovers' style, whereas steady as she goes is how Railways play. So who's going to win out as we see Ugle come inside the forward 50. He's looking for Simpson nonchalantly. He goes for the ball. They keep it in their keeping. Luckily do the Demons as a kick goes toward the big sticks. It is off Simpson once again across the face of goal. Comes off hands and through for the minor score. So early in the second term, the Demons peppering their forward 50.
Yes, they need to get the score on the board, but at least they have the ball in the forward 50. The ball hasn't been forward of centre for Railways in this quarter, so Rovers doing all the attacking. The ball comes back into play from Elliot Delaney for the Blues. Big jump there from Jack Cocking, and
nice
Jack Cocking
mark.
Takes a very good mark in front of his player there in Simpson. Kobe Simpson did well, but Jack did better. Jack Cocking on half back, so he's come up the ground. There goes the kick from Jack Cocking. Kicks it in towards the centre of the ground. Ball spills. Comes the way now of Rovers in Eastoff. Eastoff goes by hand to Simpson. Simpson kicks it up the ground, but his kick is not a good one and goes the way of Jack Cocking. So Jack Cocking running himself into a bit of form here this afternoon. Ball comes up towards a teammate there in Blake Messina. He feeds it out towards Shaden Edwards, and Railways can go forward through Jesse Adamini.
Jesse Adamini in the middle of the ground, inside the corridor, gets a handball across to a teammate, and that teammate is the youngster in Cashard who runs forward. He's dealt with when he got rid of the ball, but I don't think there was anything in that. And it goes through for the minor score. So I thought Simpson should have switched play, Glenn, when he had the ball in his possession earlier. That's Bo Simpson. Kicked it back into a host of players when he had players like Azevedo right behind him, ready to run on down the broadcast side of the ground. Decision-making in football lower than the AFL. We're so used to watching the AFL and the decision making as Rovers get a bit of a run on here, and Scott, he's off like a gazelle or a panther, whichever you like. He's down the Francis Street side. A beautiful kick on the run inside the forward 50. Players setting themselves a beautiful one-handed mark. I think it was Curley. Was it Curley that took the mark?
Dylan Curley.
Dylan Curley. It was a one-hander, Glenn. It was a ripper. And he is on a very severe angle, though. But he's probably be better at shooting on this angle than directly in front. So let's see how he goes. Dylan Curley. The ruckman for the Demons. Check side kick. No, hasn't been straight enough. Are the Demons wasting opportunities?
Abrolhos Adventures scoreboard, and Rovers go to 2 goals 3. They trail Railways 4 goals 4. So that's the scoreline. Railways have kicked 1 behind, and Rovers have kicked 3 in the early stages of this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Railways moving the ball out of defence. The ball's now with the player there, Elliot Delaney. Elliot Delaney goes right out wide and finds Jack Cocking. He's playing on the wing and getting a lot of the ball in the second term. Jack Cocking gets it up the ground looking for Alex Newton. Newton's got one to beat, and the Rovers player was too good on that occasion. Clears it up. That's Eastoff. Gets it back towards Simpson, who Simpson gives it back to Eastoff. And the ball is up on centre wing. Goes the way there of the Rovers player and Joey Ugle. He centres the ball and finds Gabriel Parfitt. Gabriel Parfitt with the ball. Kicks the ball towards half forward.
Oh, lovely mark.
Beautiful kick. Picks out Farron Parfitt. And Farron Parfitt is marked 45 metres out.
It was telegraphed, wasn't it, Glenn?
It was. So Farron can shoot on goal. So, yes, there's no doubt the Rovers have lifted their rating in this term. They got their mind back on the job. And Farron Parfitt has an opportunity from 48
talking
metres
about
out.
these, we're talking on Sports Shed Saturday this morning about the run-ups these players have. It's incredible.
Yes. So Farron, good to see him back. He was injured early again. He had a bad injury last year. He came back early this year, was injured again. But it's great to see him back in the latter half of the season. And that is a magnificent goal from 50 metres. A magic goal for Rovers and Farron Parfitt. And on the scoreboard for Abrolhos Adventures, it is Rovers now 3 goals 4. They trail Railways 4 goals 4. A 6-point ball game, and we've played 6.5 minutes in this second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack.
Gary Clark actually answered that question for us this morning, Glenn, because he, and I think he's exactly right, that the players now, they do it in the AFL as well. It's trying to use up that 30 seconds that they have with the ball. So that's why we're seeing those long run-ups. But I don't know if it's a detriment to their efforts at goal. But obviously on that occasion it wasn't.
It worked well, didn't it?
It did for Farron. He has a breeze at his back and he used it well. And that is only a kick in it here at the recreation ground. It is Railways 4-4. They lead Rovers 3-4. The preliminary final 2022. Up they go. Matt Adams in the ruck. He knocks it forward into space, but it's Adamini. He's racking up kicks this afternoon, sends it out to Kimberley. Kimberley comes inboard now, inside the corridor, looking for Shaden Edwards. He's got a couple to beat. He doesn't beat Prosser. Prosser did well, a beautiful set of hands. Gets it out to the wing now, looking for Azevedo. That player is dealt with. Clay Azevedo gets a free kick paid down the ground. It's Neville who sends it inside the corridor. Up go a couple of Rovers players. It's still in their keeping. Goes away of Curley. He gives it back to a teammate there. That teammate is Drummond. He shoots on goal, and that's another goal for the Demons.
Roland Drummond doesn't miss from there.
He's a great goal sneak, Glenn.
Yeah. So Roland Drummond got a good goal there and a good bit of play. So Roland Drummond stepping up and getting the job done.
Good play from Curley again.
Yeah, very good. So Rovers have kicked the first 2 of this term. So they're back on even keel on the scoreboard for Abrolhos Adventures. 4 goals 4 apiece, which is 28 points apiece. So scores are level. 8 minutes into this second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. So Rovers really starting to show their wares now. So Railways need to stick hard and work hard because Rovers, their quality and their pace is
so it's even Stevens then, 4-4 apiece.
That's right. So there's nothing in it. So the ball comes back into the centre and the umpire has seen a free kick. Once again, a Rovers player has come in early, or Railways player has come in early.
Rovers have been the recipient of 2 free kicks like that.
Yeah, so the free kick will go the way of Matty Adams. Matty Adams with the free kick for Rovers goes out wide and finds Joey Ugle. Joey Ugle on centre wing on the outer side. So I don't know what the Railways, twice the player
They mustn't be setting up correctly.
So the ball comes out wide, goes away now of Roland Drummond. Roland Drummond, he's a long way from goal, gets a short pass towards Chris Scott, and Chris has been good again this afternoon.
Tearing the game apart at the moment, Glenn.
Chris Scott, a big man, uses the ball well. There goes his kick from a fair way out, kicks it up to the
beautiful
goal,
stuff.
and leading the race for the ball. Good mark is Dylan Curley. and Rovers starting to flex their muscles, and 25 metres out from goal. So Dylan Curley to shoot on goal.
The Curleys have got their tails up, Glenn.
And Rovers, of course, kicked the first goal of the day, so they're away to a start. And but once again, this is the first time Rovers have been back in front for a while.
Too nonchalant and hits a post.
Yeah, so a minus score, so that looked like a perfect goal from 30 metres.
But he didn't kick through the ball. Didn't kick through the ball.
So 1 point the margin in favour of the Demons now. So Rovers still in front. It might be a valuable point as the game progresses, but they would have much preferred a goal. There goes the kick from the Railways defender in Drew Tunbridge. Good mark taken by Jack Cocking. Good that they've got him up the ground. I think I'd make a few other changes too. Railways getting Cocking to get a bit of the ball on centre wing, which is good. As you said,
Glenn, it's a 5 or 6 minutes into the second term and they haven't had it in their forward 50 probably once.
Ball comes the way now of Simpson. Simpson for Rovers, sets it up, gets it to Eddie Curley. Eddie Curley from outside the 50, kicks it towards full forward.
Oh, another beauty.
And a good mark taken again by Gabriel Parfitt. And Rovers have got the ball on a string at the moment in the forward line. The Railways defenders are at 6s and 7s, really struggling to keep pace. Not much they can do if the ball's coming in like it is. So the Railways players will need to regroup quickly. So Gabriel Parfitt, he's 25 metres out directly in front. And Gabriel Parfitt can get his first of the afternoon. So Gabriel, usually a very good kicker of the ball, and he is on this occasion. And Gabriel gets Rovers' third goal of the quarter. So Rovers are really starting to break the game open. Only in the first 11 minutes we've seen Farron Parfitt kick a goal at the 7-minute mark, Roland Drummond kick a goal at the 8-minute mark, and now Gabriel Parfitt kick a goal at the 11-minute mark of this second term. On the scoreboard for Abrolhos Adventures, it is 5 goals 5, playing 4 goals 4 in favour of the Demons.
Okay, Glenn, you've sung the praises of Latassia throughout the season, but I think he's getting a bath by Taswell and also Maddie this afternoon. That's Maddie Adams, because they certainly are getting on top in the ruck at the moment.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I just think they're winning the ball out of the centre, but I don't know they're winning the ruck knocks. But the ball is being won out of the centre by Chris Scott, Joey Ugle, and also Eddie Curley. So let's see how it goes. Ball back in the centre, and that doesn't ever seem to be a problem to Rovers. They still seem to be able to win the ball forward. Once again, Latassia wins it forward, but only as far as Joey Ugle. So you can only hit it to someone who's there. Joey Ugle is there, and Joey Ugle gets the ball forward, gets the ball around the corner, gets it to Matty Adams. Matty Adams gets a handball forward, and a handball turned it over. It picked up by Jesse Adamini, and he has the ball smothered off the boot. Comes back to the young Rovers player there in Ranger. He gets the ball forward, goes the way of Chris Clark. Chris Scott gets it towards the player there in Dwayne Neville. Dwayne Neville kick wasn't on a good par. Goes the way now of Criddle. He goes forward. Goes the way of Thurston. Thurston gives it back to Gabriel Parfitt. Gabriel Parfitt shoots on goal, and Gabriel's got another one.
It was Farron to Gabriel and a goal.
So Gabriel gets another one. That's his second in as many minutes. So a very good goal there from Gabriel Parfitt. And a very good quarter so far.
We've talked about the centre. I mean, we commentate games and whether we're the best students of the game, but where do you think now the Railways coaching bench can start to improve there? Because that seems to be somewhere where they're getting beaten at the moment.
Well, listen to Grady Tomley. He would have started Riley Zimmerman in the centre. I think I would do that. I haven't seen much of Riley today. He's not getting a lot of the ball where he is, so he might as well give him an opportunity in the midfield. But we've got Corey Clark in there at the moment, and we've got Kimberley in there as well, to Tessia, and also Jesse Adamini, but they're getting outgunned. The ball's continually winning out of the centre.
And the strength of Chris Scott over the ball is just incredible. Back in the middle now. It's won by Latassia once again, straight down the throat of the Demons though, going the way of Joey Ugle. He's been electric, out to Matty Adams. He tries to knock it on, but Kimberley does better. On this occasion, Railways do. As it goes away now of that player, we're talking about Adamini, but he puts it straight in front of Scott. I should say back in front of Simpson. Simpson gives it away to a teammate who goes outward, then comes in. Rovers still have it, going the way now of the Demons, and it's Scott. He sends it down the Francis Street side of the ground. He's looking for support up ground. A player is tackled in possession. That's Roland Drummond, and a free kick will go the way of Boyle, who's working very hard.
Boyle centres the ball to half back where he finds Drew Tunbridge. Tunbridge decides to come straight across the ground and finds Jager Williams. So Jager Williams has the ball now, kicks it forward, and once again...
Oh, beautiful mark.
Jacob Troy takes a good strong mark. So under pressure, players not kicking to the best
Playing with a lot of
advantage.
confidence now, the Demons.
Oh, a lot of skill too. Farron Parfitt from a long way out, kicks it forward. There goes Josh Simpson. Couldn't mark what he should have perhaps done. But the ball comes forward, whistle on play. Railways player was held.
And why I say
possession.
confidence, Glenn, is because Jacob Troy normally would not take a strong mark like that, and he did today, and he's certainly, the rest of the Demons players are certainly working hard.
So the ball goes out wide to Kimberley. Kimberley feeds it out towards Tristan Simpson. Haven't seen a lot of Tristan yet this afternoon. Tristan gets his kick up towards half forward, looking there for Shaden Edwards. Runs towards the boundary line, but the ball goes out of bounds. So this is only about the second time in the first 15 minutes of this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. The ball's been in the forward line.
6-5 plays 4-4 in favour of the Demons, Glenn.
Yeah, so we've seen Rovers add some 4 goals in this quarter, and Railways have added one behind.
Joe Eagle's working hard as he's dragged to the ground once again, but he goes in for the second attempts, third attempts, Glenn. He doesn't give up, does he?
No, he's a very, very good player. We know he comes with great credentials, a WAFL player, and he's got good fitness levels, which helps.
The ball coming out of the pack goes away with Scott again. He rucked on that occasion, knocks it down to a thirsty Rovers player who tries to send it forward, but there's Adamini once again. He's trying to do it all on his lonesome, and he does. He gets the ball, puts it onto his boot, sends it into the half-forward area, but there, the Rovers player quickly is bottled up, gives it away to a teammate. They're looking after each other as Prosser gives it away to a fellow Rovers, Guernsey. Goes away now of Simpson. That's Kobe Simpson. He sends it out to the Francis Street side. There's Scott. He's best on ground at the moment. Gives it back to Simpson. In fact, it's Ugle. Ugle uses a sanctuary of the boundary, finds the white line, and the ball goes over on the Francis Street side.
Out of bounds on the full.
Yeah.
So an opportunity for Rovers to bring the ball in through Joey Ugle. Goes up the ground and finds Tazewell. Blake Tazewell, a good young, talented young man, gets it up towards another very promising player in Glenn Prosser. Prosser puts it on his left boot, puts it out in front of Jack Eastoff. Jack Eastoff, the West Coast player, grabs the ball, takes one bounce, puts it on his left boot. Beautiful kick too. Looking up the ground for Simpson. This time it's Bo Simpson. He's got to beat Messina. Messina's got a fairly good bit of pace too. Messina kicks the ball back around the corner, goes the way of Thurston. Thurston sees the ball across the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw-in. And there'll be a boundary throw-in in front of the Railways coaches box. So the Railways coaching box would be a little bit of concern. They've kicked only 1 point in this quarter, and Rovers have kicked 4 goals for.
Yeah, they're standing up right on the boundary, Glenn. They are a little bit alarmed at the moment as the Demons have sort of eclipsed their opponents in this term. The ball coming in the way of Farron Parfitt. The captain knocks it into space. It's picked up by the Railways player in Simpson. He sends it out to no one in particular, and it only finds the boundary and straight over in front of the big grandstand here this afternoon. A few people watching from one of the best viewpoints in the at the recreation ground. The ball out on the full goes away of Eastoff, and he sees the lead from Gabriel Parfitt, and he obliges, takes the mark, and now will have a shot on goal on a very tough angle. Glenn, he's right in front of the Railways faithful here this afternoon.
He'd like the challenger,
He would, and he's through the eye of a needle. He'll have to kick this one would think. In comes Gabriel Parfitt now. He's looking for the big sticks. It's coming inside the corridor. It's going to drop short. Players going up over the back of the pack. It looks like it's going to go the way of Dylan Curley. He knocks it down in front of him. Going away the defenders for Railways. Working overtime at the moment, but again it's picked up by Rovers, who send it forward. Going back the way now of Drummond. He's quickly brought to ground, almost in possession, the umpire said. Yes, he's caught well and truly red-handed, and a free kick will go the way of the defender for Railways. Certainly under pressure now, Glenn, are the Blues.
We saw Railways fall away after half-time last week. They were disappointing in the third quarter, but they're pretty disappointing in this quarter because although Rovers haven't got an insurmountable lead at the moment, they still have control of the game.
And the Breeze, it is only still 2 goals.
It's not worth a lot.
No.
Ball is with Railways, and it's with Cashard. Cashard gets the ball forward. Big pack into the air. Nobody got hands to it. Ball goes over the back. Picked up by Rovers again through Eastoff. Eastoff goes with a short pass and finds Bo Simpson. Bo Simpson, the former Railways player, but he was also a Rovers player before he went to Railways. Ball comes back. Goes the way now of the player in Tommy Rowe, who's had a nice haircut. Tommy Rowe gets a ball forward, looking there for a teammate, and finds that player in Messina. Messina goes by hand to Corey Clark. Clark kicks it up towards full forward and finds Alex Newton, and the player lucky not to get a penalty there because he pushed the bloke while he was in mid-air, and the mark was already taken. There goes the kick from Newton.
Oh, too easy.
Gets it up towards Jesse Jesse Adamini gets
This
the mark.
is a very important kick for
Well,
Railways,
it is,
Glenn.
yeah. Gets them back in the contest.
About the third time they've gone inside 50 in this quarter.
And they heading into time on, and Railways haven't scored a goal in this term. So this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, Jesse Adamini, one of the stars of the Blues, former East Fremantle player, shoots on goal and has hit the post.
I was never going to say it went over the top of the post, Glenn.
Yeah, well, thankfully it hit the post. We don't have to argue about whether it went over the post. It hit the post. I definitely saw it move.
Rovers a 20-point lead going into the half-time break. The ball in the back pocket now for the Demons. They are dictating terms at the moment. Pendulum did swing toward Railways toward quarter time as Eastoff probably a little bit too confident there. The ball is brought down.
And
he did.
Yeah.
He should have passed it off earlier, and a free kick will go the way of Messina. So Messina now outside the outside the forward 50 for Railways. Going inboard, there's a host of Rovers players. Up goes the player there in Simpson, coming down into space, into the back of the Rovers player. It's advantage paid. There's Scott again. He's everywhere this afternoon. Great Scott sends it down in front of our broadcast position. Drummond can run onto it. He's a magician, this fella. He doesn't look like it, but he certainly is good. He gets it away to Curley. Curley onto his boot, sends it into the half-forward area. Up go a couple of players. Gabriel Parfitt's there. He has another opponent to beat, and it's fisted away out of his vantage point and over the boundary. In deep attack once again for the Demons.
So the ball will be brought back into play, and an entertaining game of football, as you'd expect. The preliminary final, the big prize this afternoon is an opportunity, a grand final berth against Brigades next weekend. For the loser, their season is done, and they can start their celebrations as they head towards Mad Monday. Ball comes back into play, goes the way of Railways and Tristan Simpson. Tristan Simpson gets a kick forward, but
nice
a good mark again taken by Blake Tazewell. Tazewell plays on for Rovers, goes into the centre of the ground, or centre half.
Is he a nominee for the Maury Drennan Rising Star, or has he played too many games?
I'm not too sure. There goes the kick from the player there, and Joey Ugle goes out wide looking for Joshua Simpson. Josh Simpson, 50 metres from goal. We know what magic he can weave. Kicks the ball forward. Two Railways players go up. They'll be best to knock the ball through, but they keep the ball in play. Goes back now, goes the way of Riley Zimmerman. Zimmerman goes across the ground and finds Tommy Rowe. Tom Rowe plays on quickly, short pass, and finds a teammate there. Gets a short one forward, goes the way of, that was Williams who got it over towards Boyle, and Boyle with the opportunity to get the ball forward. Mitchell Boyle gets a short pass, finds Jesse Moore. In fact, it was Jesse Moore with the ball now, and it was Adamini that played his part in that contest. Goes the way of Elliot Delaney. Delaney takes the ball.
Oh, jeez.
A free kick will go the way of Elliot Delaney, who was tackled high.
Yeah, I know. They just they wasted that Rovers. They had well and truly had him in his keeping and then put on the bad tackle. The ball coming laterally now finds Tunbridge in front of our broadcast position. He sends it down to this player. You wanted him to play up the ground, Glenn, and we're talking about Zimmerman. Zimmerman sends it into space and running onto it and takes the mark is Cocking. He wastes no time. He sends it inside the corridor. Latassia takes a nice mark and finishes off with the first goal of the term for Railways.
A very important goal. That's Latassia's second goal. So the scoreboard looks a little bit more attractive now. Despite Rovers kicking 4 goals for the term to this point, we can see that on the Brolers Adventures
staying
scoreboard,
in touch are the Blues.
It is a very interesting scoreline. Rovers are 6 goals 5, and Railways are 5 goals 5, so 6 points the margin. It was a 14-point margin in favour of Railways at quarter time. We're into time on now, so really a really interesting scoreline. Can Railways or Rovers get a late goal? Very important. 23 minutes gone in this term for Melissa Price, the member for Durack, on Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day.
Can Rovers answer the challenge? Railways have worked their way back into the game late in the first half. Latassia, he's kicked 2 goals today. He's a bit of a goal sneak and doesn't miss too many. I don't think I've seen him kick too many points here in the competition. We have heard the whistle again from the umpires.
There is
a card.
Yellow card. And it's going to
Alex Newton. Alex Newton has been yellow carded. So that is a blow for the Blues. He's one of their mainstays in the forward line. So Alex Newton will now go to the bench and will be off for at least 10 minutes. And that has really stopped the momentum for Railways, who've just scored a goal. Alex Newton, one of the live wires in the forward area.
Kick out of the centre.
Yep, so the ball is with Rovers now. And it's with the big fella, the youngster, who Blake Tazewell, who I think will figure in the Maury Drennan Rising Star come Tuesday night. Let's see what he can do. He kicks into space. The mark is taken, not out there. He jumped up into the end, looked beautifully, did everything right, did the youngster there in going for the mark, and that player is Jai Thurston. He's dropped a couple this afternoon. Surely he'll hold on to one day. The ball goes out of space, out of a host of players, into space, I should say. It's quickly set upon by the Demons, and it is Curley. Onto his boot, into the full forward area, and the mark is almost taken by Simpson over the back of the pack. Simpson is lurking, but luckily for Railways, up comes the boundary line, and the ball is in deep attack once again for the Demons. So they could get a late goal come half-time, Glenn, and that would not be what Railways would want.
No, but Rovers probably deserve one because they've had a lot of the play and they're not leading by all that much. But Railways, to their credit, still in this ball game. Can they keep the ball out? In goes Jesse Moore, slaps the ball forward, but goes away of Joey Ugle. He gets a handball, goes away of Eddie Curley. Eddie Curley shoots on goal, but Eddie Curley's kick is a little bit offline, just in front of the goals, and well backed up by the very, very experienced defender, Kyle Watts, in game number 251 for his beloved Blues. Ball comes back into play, put Tommy Rowe under pressure, but the ball rove beautifully by Jesse Adamini, goes by hand to Riley Zimmerman. Zimmerman goes by hand to Priolo. Priolo goes back into trouble, gets a feed ball out towards Blake Messina. Messina would have preferred he didn't. Gives the ball back towards Adamini. Adamini eventually gets the ball away, but under pressure, it goes the way of Rovers' Glenn Prosser.
Prosser sends it into space, and Joey Ugle has a lot of room. He kicks it down to Tazwell. Tazwell, in fact, it's Azavado. He marks just outside the centre square. Time ticking away to half-time. He kicks toward the goal square, inside the corridor. Players setting themselves. Up they go, over the back. A toe poke by Rovers. No, the Railways player is quickly in to try and stop anything from happening, and that player is Zimmerman, and he takes it through for the minor score.
So the ball to be brought back in by the defenders there for Railways. Comes the way of Kyle Watts. Kyle Watts puts it on his left boot, goes out wide, but there's the siren. Half-time of the football, preliminary final day 2022, and an interesting score line it is. At quarter time, it was Railways who led by 14 points, but as we head towards half-time, an interesting score line indeed, and it is Railways who are trailing Rovers. Rovers are 6 goals, 6-42. Railways 5-5-35, a 7-point margin in favour of Rovers as we head to half-time in Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football for Dread and O'Malley Motors Game Day.
Today.
Flu
And Chris Scott, well, what can you say? He is best on ground at the moment.
Looking at Railway's better players, Mitchell Boyle continues to work hard. Jesse had a meeting getting a lot of the ball. Jesse Moore has been giving them something. The Kimberley boys, Matt and Peter, working hard. Ryan Latesia working well around the ground, but Railways are a bit flat again today. They certainly started okay.
It's an important quarter for Railways, really, isn't it?
Well, last week we thought the same. Last week playing against their side Brigades in the second semi-final, and at half-time there was only 10 points in it. Brigades were up, but in the second half it was disappointing because Brigades were able to add on 6 goals and Railways were only able to add on 2 goals. That's not taking anything away from Brigades. Brigades played very good football last week and thoroughly deserved their victory and their place in the grand final for 2022.
But one would think Railways would have to make a play in this quarter, wouldn't they?
They would. They've got that, a little bit of breeze at their back, and they really need to start running hard, or the season will come to an end, grinding halt. And it's been a long time between drinks for Railways. They've been around the place in finals footy for a long time.
Yeah, threatening, probably for the last 5-6 years.
Well, and I think they last won a flag in 2011, but they're always around the place come finals time, but they haven't been able to go the next level. So this is a big test for them, and their younger players have really got to step up and produce some really good football, but so too their senior players. The senior players have got to continue to get more and do more, but Rovers, as we said prior to the game, Rovers look pretty formidable on paper, and they have looked pretty formidable on the ground. Rovers have got 3 interchange players available, and they are Blake Taswell, also the young player there in Jake Criddle, and Roland Drummond. They're the players coming to the bench for the Rovers side.
Okay, moments away from a start in the second half. It is 7 points in favour of the Demons. Will they go through to play Brigades in the grand final next week at WA Country Builders Stadium? We'll find out in the next couple of quarters. But Railways really have to do some work in this quarter, one would think, to make sure they possibly have a chance of having another bite at Brigades next week. The umpire seems to be waiting a little while for things to get sorted here this afternoon. Being quite pedantic, the umpires today, Glenn, with the where players are standing on the ground. But we're away now as umpire Bennett comes in. Bennett and Bennett umpiring this afternoon. Up they go. It's won by Latassia, but almost down the throat of Farron Parfitt. Goes away of Scott. He knocks it into space. Coming through is the player there for Rovers in Parfitt. That's Gabriel Parfitt. Sends it out to space. Trying to run onto it is Eastoff. He misses the ball. Goes for the player. It's picked up by Neville now. Neville into the half-forward area inside the corridor. But up goes Tristan Simpson. Almost in the last line of defence and takes a timely mark.
Much needed. Tristan Simpson plays on, comes out wide, looking to the broadcast box side of the ground, finds Corey Clark there. He goes back through traffic, then puts it on his left boot, finds player there in Kyle Watts. Kyle Watts a long way down from full back on centre wing. Gets the ball across towards the centre of the ground, finds Jesse Adamini. Adamini with another short pass, finds Mitchell Boyle. So Railways trying to statistically and tactically win the ball forward, gets it up towards Jack Cocking. Jack Cocking, 45 metres from goal, shoots towards goal. Ball running free. Ball goes out of bounds. And Jack Cocking gets himself up off the ground. And the ball will be thrown in deep in the right forward pocket. Just very close to the Red Dust holding scoreboard, which reads a interesting scoreline indeed. Rovers 6-6-42. They lead Railways 5-5-35. And you're tuned to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
Jack Cocking, he certainly is a player of the future, but been paid a lot of attention in recent weeks, Glenn. And he certainly is feeling the pinch. The ball coming inside down the half-forward area for Brigades. I should say Railways inside the forward 50. They bottle it up somewhat. The ball will be thrown up once again. The scoreboard reading, Rovers 6-6 leading Railways 5-5. This is the preliminary final 2022. Up they go. It's won by Adams. But it goes down to a Railways player. No, it doesn't. Rovers come out of the pack, or do they? The player's quickly brought to ground, but there he is again. Gabriel Parfitt. He does well. He's a magician. He goes one way, then the other. He gets it back to a teammate who is all at 6s and 7s, but gives it back to Parfitt, who sends it down the line looking for Curley. Curley takes a mark inside the centre square. That's Eddie Curley. He sees the lead. The lead is from Ugle. Ugle obliges. In fact, it's the player there in Simpson. He gives it to Neville. Neville looking good. He's a lot fitter than he was at the beginning of the season. Gets it back to Simpson. Simpson shows a clean set of heels. He bounces once, twice, almost going inside the forward 50. Kicks toward the big sticks, and at the back of the pack, up goes the player almost to take the mark. He went up a little bit too early on that occasion, and that was Farron Parfitt, and his opposite number takes the mark. mark, gives it away to the player there in Adamini, and Adamini puts it onto his boot and goes for the sanctuary of the boundary on the Francis Street side.
So Noah Cashard was about to run away with the ball on the centre wing, but the ball was out of play. So the ball will be brought back into play from the boundary umpire. So on that Francis Street wing, good crowd here today, and a beautiful day for football, preliminary final day. And a big prize up for grabs this afternoon. The winner gets a grand final berth as Jesse Adamini grabs the ball, kicks it up towards half forward. Almost a good mark taken. That was Adamini there.
Yes,
he couldn't mark. So it was a good kick forward from Jager Williams. And the ball was cut off by Jamie Gear. So Jamie Gear turns the ball over. He's kicked it towards Jesse Moore. And Jesse Moore has the ball now. And Jesse Moore has an opportunity to shoot on goal. So Jesse Moore sets sail for home. Big kick up towards the teeth of goal. Jack Cocking's
Beautiful
there.
Mark.
And Jack Cocking takes a very strong mark. And that'll do the young man's confidence a world of good. Jack Cocking lining up for his first goal this afternoon.
Bad decision making by Jamie Gear is maybe costing them a goal here, Glenn. So it's funny, isn't it, how just one bad decision can be costly.
So Jack Cocking, as we mentioned, under a fair bit of pressure, being the leading key forward for the Railways side. Only a young man, a good young player with a big future. Jack Cocking shooting on goal from 35 metres out, 45-degree angle. Jack Cocking gets his first of the afternoon. Railways get their sixth goal of the afternoon. And on the scoreboard for Red Dust Holdings, it is 6 goals, 5 Railways, and Rovers 6 goals, 6. So a 1 point ball game. 4 minutes into the premiership quarter, with thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors.
Yes, hello to Ron, John, Rachel, and all the team at Drennan O'Malley in Chapman Road. Using the breeze at their back, only about 2 goals in this particular game. It may get stronger as we go into the final term, so one would think that they need to get a few more goals on the board at this stage, Railways. They still trail by a solitary point here in the preliminary final. Rovers, a bad error there. But that player, it's hard, isn't it, when a player plays so well and then it makes one mistake and it's costly. Jamie Gear certainly will make amends for that before the game's over, that's for sure. Back in the middle now, and we've got Ugle. He is almost roving away from the player there, Latassia. He kicks it forward. He finds Messina. Messina for the Blues. Goes backward to Latassia. He sees a lead down the corridor. It's Jack Cocking. Up he goes. The fella almost took a beautiful mark off the top of the pack, but is unable to do so. Goes the way now of Simpson, and he quickly clears for the Demons.
Ball on the outer side with Jack Eastoff for Rovers. Short pass finds Joey Ugle on half back. Joey Ugle moving the ball well. Gets it up towards Eddie Curley. Eddie Curley gets a short pass, looking there for Dwayne Neville, finds that player. Dwayne took it very casually, but the ball was held to him and didn't have prior opportunity. So the umpire, Robert Bennett, will come in and throw the ball up. So the ball is going to be thrown up. In fact, a free kick's been picked out. Go the way of the player there in Drew Tunbridge. Drew Tunbridge was tackled high. Ball goes the way of Jesse Adamini. He goes in towards the forward half and finds the half-forward flanker there in Elliot Delaney. Delaney spears it forward, but it's cut off again by the Rovers defender there in Glenn Prosser.
Prosser gets it away now to Kobe Simpson. Both Simpsons playing good in defence for the Demons today. He's got a bit of space, and he decides not to get rid of the ball. Gives it to a teammate. They need to kick it soon, the Demons. They're playing with it as Ugle gets it, sends it down the line, and eventually finds Azevedo. Azevedo sees the lead. The lead's from Parford. He's got room here. Is there anyone at front? He's calling for someone to go inside the corridor. Up goes Dylan Curley and takes a nice mark just inside the forward 50. So Dylan Curley's a pretty good goal sneaker, this fella, and he's kicking against a breeze. It's coming across his face at the Shenton Street end. Dylan Curley, one of the ruckmen for the Demons today, along with Taswell
and Matt Adams.
Exactly, they've got 3 of them, Glenn, which is a trifecta. The ball going inboard, and the mark is taken by Curley. Was it 15 metres? The umpire agrees it was. Now Eddie Curley will have a shot on goal. So Curley to Curley, like cracker to cracker in the classics, Glenn. And Eddie Curley, wearing the number 2, will now have a shot on goal. He's probably a little bit closer in the end once he gets back to the run-up, the massive run-ups these youngsters have at the moment. So Eddie Curley kicking toward the Shenton Street end. He's on a very slight angle. Ooh, he's been inaccurate on this occasion. It's caught the breeze and gone through for the minor score. So the Demons let Railways off the hook again. 2
points the margin in favour of the Demons. Early stages of the premiership quarter, the third quarter. Ball comes up the ground. Railways have an opportunity, do they? Joey Ugle breaks a tackle well. Goes with a short pass to Roland Drummond. Drummond will use the ball well. He does. Gets the ball forward. And a good mark taken there by the young player who was a late replacement.
He's been listening to me, Glenn, because he's dropped about 3 today and he's taken one Thurston, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So he's come into the game. He was a replacement.
He's got his iron now.
It was a replacement for Denham Ranger late. Ball goes by hand.
Oh,
goes
nice
away,
kick from Simpson.
And Kobe Simpson sets sail for home, but Kobe misses. 1 point only, so they've kicked 3 points in this quarter. Another minus score. So Rovers are 6 goals, 8. They lead the Railway side 6 goals, 5. 3 points the margin. As we see Railways bringing the ball out through Tristan Simpson. And Tristan Simpson has run too far.
Gee, that's a huge
blow.
error.
Yes. So the ball will come back and free, easy shot.
It's Farron Parfitt, so he knows how to kick a goal, does this fella, but Rovers have had a few sighters so far. Gives it away to Scott. He plays on. Is it good enough? No, it's not. It goes across the face, a goal. That was another wasted effort by the Demons. They're just blazing away at the moment as the ball goes over the boundary. Glen in deep attack once again for the Red and Blacks.
Yes, well, I'm sure Tristan Simpson took a sigh of relief that there was wasted opportunity.
It was wasted indeed.
Because Railways really under pressure now as Rovers peppering the goals, and they're kicking them at the southern, or kicking points at the southern end of the ground. We haven't had a lot of scoring at this end of the ground. Picked up now by Railways, but picked up again by Gabriel Parfitt. Puts it on his left boot, up towards full forward. Dylan Kirtley is marked.
Geez, he's got to get this one, Glenn.
And Dylan Curley, he should kick this
he's
one.
He's 10 metres out, isn't he? Or 15 metres out when he gets back.
So Dylan is only probably 25 metres out.
I won't call the metres anymore. I'm going to ask you to do it. I'm not good at it.
No, I wouldn't like to buy land off you, Peter. So there goes the kick from Dylan Curley. Looks pretty good off the boot. He gets his first of the afternoon, and Rovers get their 7th. And on the scoreboard for Red Dust Holdings, Rovers are 7 goals, 8. 50. They lead Railway 6-5.
You know what my
41.
problem is, Glenn? I look at the man on the mark,
yes,
instead of the man with the ball. So because they have a huge run up, these guys as well. But that was a much needed goal for the Demons, because they've been in their forward 50 for the last 10 minutes and weren't able to score. But the funny thing is, Glenn, they are now kicking against the breeze. Not the funny thing, the interesting thing is kicking against the breeze, and they've had it in their forward 50 3-4 times as often as Railways, who have the breeze at their back. Okay,
so ball back in the centre. We call it the Premiership quarter because usually this is the quarter where makes or breaks a side. So an opportunity now. Can Railways regroup and get back into this contest? They trail by only 9 points. Ball goes the way of Jesse Adamini. Ball smothered off the boot of Noah Cashard. Cashard's ball is taken by Joey Ugle. Ball goes forward. Railways defender Tunbridge to Simpson. Gee, Noah Cashard's having a bit of trouble with the opposition this afternoon. Ball goes the way of the player there, and Eddie Curley. Eddie Curley kicks it back, looking up there for some movement. Ball goes the way now of the Railways defender. Kimberley gets it on towards Kyle Watts. Kyle Watts goes out towards Tommy Rowe. Tommy Rowe in the back pocket for the Blues. Kicks it up along centre wing, looking up there for Jesse Moore. Moore trying to keep the ball in front of him. Sees the ball across the boundary line. And there'll be a boundary throw-in on the other side of Warren Taylor Holmes Recreation Ground for preliminary final day 2022. And an interesting scoreline and a 9-point margin in favour of the Demons as we head to the middle stages of this third term, with thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors.
What I like about the Demons, Glenn, they're being accountable at the moment, and that means they're going in for 1, 2, 3 opportunities before they get the ball and not giving up. But on that occasion, Railways coming out of the pack, quickly set upon, going back the way of Latassia now. He gets it out to Messina. He takes it back. He's looking for a bit of an avenue up front, gets it to a teammate there who passes it on to Kimberley. Kimberley kicks away into space, and Cocking all on his lonesome. In fact, he had gear right on his hammer, but he had a beautiful lead, and the youngster takes a nice mark. And Glenn, what is he? 25 metres out. Yeah,
probably a bit further than that, Peter. But we'll see
when he gets onto it.
Yeah, he's about 58 now, but he'll kick across the line, and he'll be about 45 metres when he kicks this ball. So he's a very good kicker of the football. So he's kicked one earlier in this term. So he's just gone across the 50-metre line from 45 metres. His kick will go away to the right-hand side through for a minus score. So another wasted opportunity. This time it's Railways. 6 goals, 6, 42 Railways. They trail Rovers 7-8, 50. And you're tuned to Radio Mama. And that scoreboard with thanks to Red Dust Holdings.
Yes, Eddie Curley is certainly doing okay, but it's Joey Ugle in the middle of the ground that is the man picking up most possessions on the park. The ball was with the Demons, going to this player in Eastoff. Good to have him in the arsenal. Eastoff on the Francis Street side. The Seagulls circling here. Maybe we'll get some weather before the game's out. He kicks further afield, but it's a shocker. Catches a breeze and is out on the full. So the ball will be brought back in by Railways now. Coming inboard. Rovers just standing there and watching them as Delaney gets the ball and then he's tackled. I thought they were. It was a beautiful tackle by Criddle. And a free kick will go the way. Oh, you are joking.
He turned it over.
Oh, no, I think he gave him for a high tackle, Glenn.
No, the player pushed him in the head after the free kick had already been paid.
Yeah.
So the ball goes forward now, goes the way of Moore. He can't control the ball. And picked up now by the player there in Scott. Scott kicks it back towards Alec Newton, who was yellow carded earlier in the game. So Alex Newton with the ball. He needs to lift his work rate, as do many of his teammates. So Alex Newton, short pass, goes the way of Drew Tunbridge. Drew Tunbridge, who had a lot of the season missed because of injury. Good to see him back playing good footy this afternoon. Goes across the ground, finds the player there in Tommy Rowe, who'll go with another short pass and find a teammate there in Jesse Adamini. Adamini from half forward, kicks it up towards the forward pocket. Almost a good grab there to the young player there in Newton. Ball spills, picked up by the Rovers defence, and Rovers kick it back to whence it came. But Railways have the numbers, and Railways can clear up through Kimberley. Kimberley goes to Letessia. Letessia goes towards half forward, where he finds Elliot Delaney. Elliot Delaney, 55 metres from goal, and Railways desperate for the next score.
Yeah, the pendulum swung a little bit at the moment, Glenn. The Demons were on top, but it looks like the Railways have worked their way back into the game. A couple of good kicks here. Could see them have the lead, but let's see what Delaney can do. He's going to kick from pretty far out here. 55 metres. It's a nice big kick. It's going to drop short, come off hands, and it's gone through for the minor score. So, see the scoreboard tick over now. It's gone to 6-7, and that is Railways, and they play Rovers 7-8. They have the breeze at their back. The Demons against the breeze, and they have more score in this particular quarter as we see Simpson go laterally now and finds a teammate there in front. I think it's Azevedo that's gone into defence. Azevedo in the shadows of the scoreboard plays on down the field looking for support, but it's only the player there for Railways that goes in and takes the mark. The player is caught almost in possession. Yes, a free kick will go the way of this player in Eastoff. He gets the ball, but he's finishing off. Sometimes there's a lot to be desired. He kicks laterally now and finds this player in Thurston. Thurston comes backward to this player, like him with the ball. We're talking about Eddie Curley. Eddie Curley in the middle of the ground. He's looking for support upfield. He sees the lead. The lead's from that player there in Tazwell. Couldn't take the mark. Goes over his head into space. Everyone was looking from both sides. Goes away now of Zimmerman. Zimmerman into space, but there he is, Joey Ugle. He'll make some space out of nothing, and he does. He comes outside the pack, gives it to a teammate there, and Farron Parfitt to Gabriel Parfitt. On the lead is Drummond. He takes the mark just outside the forward 50.
Some of the younger Railways players are a little bit intimidated this afternoon as the ball comes out, goes the way of Tunbridge. He's not. Goes by hand to Rowe. Rowe gets a short pass, and a good mark taken there by Mitchell Boyle. Mitchell Boyle still working hard for the Blues. Goes out wide, finds a teammate there. And that again is Drew Tunbridge. His work rate is outstanding this afternoon. Drew Tunbridge getting the move on from centre wing. Francis Street side, kicking towards the city end. He finds Shaden Edwards. Haven't seen a lot of Shaden this afternoon. And Shaden's a quality player who can kick a few goals very, very quickly. He plays on quickly now. Put Jager Williams under a bit of pressure. Ball running free. Goes the way of Mitchell Boyle. He slams the ball forward by hand. In goes a Railways player. Tackled. Umpire says play on. And the umpire, Robert Bennett, will come in and throw the ball up. 16 and a half minutes gone in this third quarter, with thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors. And we've got a 7-point ball game in favour of the Demons.
One would think the Railways need another goal as we head toward the three-quarter time break. Shaden Edwards, will he be able to do it? He puts it into space. Running onto it is the youngster there in Cocking. He goes one way, then the other, going to the defenders of Rovers, but they miss the bounce of the ball. It's picked up by Boyle. He spins around on a 50-cent piece, and he spun around enough to put it through for the minor score. So Railways, they are working hard, Glenn, but one would think they need a major soon.
So the ball to be brought back in by the Rovers defenders. So hasn't been a lot of goals scored in this quarter. Railways have kicked one goal and Rovers have kicked one goal. So it's a very tight third quarter Ball comes back into play. Chris Scott's the player that brings it in for the Demons. Goes out wide, looking out there for Joey Ugle. Ball very close to the boundary line. And the Rovers players and the Railways players probably a little bit tired. Pretty warm conditions here this afternoon. Rain was forecast early in the week, but rain came through overnight. Been a beautiful day for football. Preliminary final day for 2022. Ball to be brought back into play. The boundary umpire puts the ball back into play. And the ball slapped over the back, goes the way of Priolo. He couldn't control it. In goes the Rovers player. Once again, umpire Bennett will come in and bounce the ball up. And he gave it every opportunity, but the ball wouldn't come out. And once again, he'll throw the ball up. So it's a 6-point ball game here in the latter stages of this third term for Drennan O'Malley Motors.
Preliminary final. Peter Forensic Glenn Barn to bring you all the action as we see Gabriel Parfitt go back into traffic and is quickly held, and it looks like a free kick. Yep, he is caught in possession. A free kick will go the way of Railways. He should have went outward instead of inward. The ball coming from Newton now inside the corridor it goes. A goal here to Railways would be important for the Blues. Coming out the back of the pack, everyone is struggling to get it, including the Simpson brothers, who dive on top of it and won't let it out of their keeping. And the ball up just metres away from the goal mouth for the Blues. Time ticking away. 18.5 minutes gone in the third term. Up they go now. Taswell. He waits on the ground, but he collects the ball and brings it to ground. So too, he is brought to ground. It'll be thrown up once again. So things getting very tight, Glenn, as both sides are desperate to break the shackles here this afternoon. We'll play Brigades in the grand final next week. Well, it's anyone's game, you'd think, at this stage. Up they go, and it's knocked away by Scott. Gee, leaped high in the air there. Puts it into space. Rovers onto the boot, but it's Railways outside the defensive 50 who pick it up in the guise of Antonio Priolo. He sends it inside the corridor, and there he is again, the danger man, and it's Alex Newton who takes another mark.
So Alex Newton is in the side to kick goals. He's kicked one goal this afternoon, so this will be an important one. It'll make the scores level as we head into time on in this third quarter. So a very important kick for Alex Newton and his team and his club. So Alex Newton has an opportunity to get a much needed goal, an important, crucial goal. So Alex Newton from 30 metres out, 45 degree, shouldn't have any problem.
No, he's missed it.
But he's missed it, and a minus score is the result. So 6 goals, 9, 45 are Railways. They trail Rovers 7-8, 50, and the scoreboard with thanks to Red Dust Holdings as Rovers to bring the ball back in through Kobe Simpson. Kobe Simpson, short pass, looking there for a teammate. Very close to the boundary line is Clay Azevedo. The ball goes out of bounds, and there'll be a boundary throw-in as we are into time on in this third quarter.
Rovers leading on the scoreboard. 50 plays 45. The ball about to be thrown in now. Just in front of the Railways faithful here this afternoon. They're looking for their side to lift a little coming into the final term. Boyle will do that, but he kicks it on this occasion straight down the throat of Taswell onto his boot. In fact, it's Prosser. He sends it down the wing. It's one Rover, 2 Railways. Goes away of the Blues. That player will get a free kick. He's dealt with when he got rid of the ball. A little bit too late, and it's a Drew Tunbridge. As Glenn said, he's played a fine game. The recipient of a free kick. He goes laterally now. He finds Latassia in the middle of the ground. He sees space and he finds Tristan Simpson. So the Blues slowing it down, doing what they do well. Rovers need to counteract with their run-on game, one would think. Tristan Simpson sees the lead. The lead is a good one by Newton. That's a beautiful mark straight over the top of his opponent. And Alex Newton, gee, he only had eyes for the ball, and that's a classic mark, Glenn. He was high into the air, and now we'll have another shot on goal.
So Alex Newton, a fair way out from goal now, 48 metres, and he's shooting on goal. So can Railways get the lead as they head towards three-quarter time? We've seen Railways add 1 goal 4 in this quarter. Rovers have added some 1 goal 3, 1 goal 2 in fact. So there goes the kick from Alex Newton. Looks pretty good off the boot.
Good kick.
Right on the teeth of goals. Goal umpire signals all clear, and Railways get their much needed 7th goal of the afternoon. On the Red Dust Holdings scoreboard, Railways are 7-9. They lead Rovers 7-8, and we're heading towards three-quarter time with thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
Only a point, Glenn, but if they go into the break a point up, they're still in front, and that is momentum, Glenn, and Alex Newton is certainly the catalyst for Railways if they need one, and can Rovers answer the challenge? The ball comes back to the middle now. Alex Newton, of course, received a yellow card in the second term, was off for 10 minutes, and Rovers did a bit of damage during that time, but the ball coming back to the middle now. Mitchell Boyle starting to have an impact, steadily growing in stature as the game has developed. He works hard all game, but starting to make his presence felt. So too, Joey Ugle. So great tussle in the middle there. Adamini has been hot and cold this afternoon. He's a player who will be marked, that's for sure. Up they go. Ball coming out, goes the way now of Curley. Curley into the half-forward area for the Demons. Drummond's there, so too is the player there in Neville. Free kick to Neville, it should come back. There was no advantage to Rovers there. So Neville outside the centre square. Rovers want to hurry things up if they want to score before the three-quarter time break. Neville sees the lead. Here he goes again. On the run, Chris Scott. He's done this once or twice, and he's done it again. It was blazing away. I don't know what he's trying to do with it. Putting it into the pocket, looking for Dylan Curley. Curley loses possession, and the ball is back with Kimberley. Kimberley now sends it out to the outer side, and it's Adamini, who has had to struggle to get kicks, especially in this term. Coming inboard now. He finds Simpson. That's Tristan Simpson. There's a host of Simpsons playing today. 3 for one side, 1 for the other. The ball into the half-forward area now for the Blues, but it is picked up by Tazwell. Tazwell sends it to Curley. Curley marks comfortably over Boyle. Curley, he sees the lead. It's a short lead, and it's by Farron Parfitt. He's come right down the ground, playing forward this afternoon. He's looking for a couple of players up front, but not quick enough for the siren to sound. And at three-quarter time, it is Railways who have eclipsed Rovers and retained the lead. At three-quarter time in the preliminary final, it is Railway 7-9. They lead the Demons 7-8. And you're listening to Radio Mama. We are the home of GNFL football. I really do like Blake Taswell.
Railways like it when it's on their terms, Peter. When they're moving the ball, they can handle it and keep possession. They've got some good players. Drew Tunbridge lifted his work rate. He's been very good today. Ryan Letessia in the midfield as the ruckman. Mitchell Boyle and Jesse Adamini working well up forward. Jesse Moore, Matt Kimberley and Alex Newton are doing their bit. But Railways need everyone to lift, as do Rovers this final term, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. To call all the action, Peter Fiorenza.
Out of the middle it comes. It's Railways or first with it. Knocked forward, though, by Gabriel Parfitt. He sees Neville run onto it. Neville struggles to pick it up. Is tackled a little high. The umpire is unsighted. The ball going back the way of Latassia. Eventually comes the way of Scott. He does the don't argue, Dusty Martin style. Puts it onto his boot into the half-forward area. Nolan Drummond takes a nice mark. And I reckon he's about 20 metres out from goal. And he's going to have a shot on goal at a 45-degree angle.
You're
at the Augusta Street end.
You're spot on, Peter. Spot on.
I've stopped working out how to do it instead of calling the man on the mark. Okay, so he's going to shoot toward the Augusta Street end. A breeze at his back, so an early goal will be a fillip for Rovers, one would think. It's pretty good goal sneakers, Drummond.
Very good.
And he certainly doesn't let me down on that occasion. First blood in the final term goes to the Demons.
So Roland Drummond, who is a very good player and has played a fair bit of football over his career, and if he had full fitness, he would be an outstanding player, but he's got very good skills, and Roland Drummond gets his second goal of the afternoon. So Rovers are back in front, so a very important goal. And as we know, Rovers have got the breeze at their back in this quarter. The breeze won't do it for you. Breeze certainly not as strong as it generally is in September footy at the recreation ground, but still handy, favouring the city end. So we've got a very tight 5-point ball game. 51 plays 56, so an interesting scoreline indeed. 50 plays 51, I should say, as the ball comes back into play. It goes the way now,
56 plays 51.
Yeah, okay, the ball comes the way now of the player there in Josh Simpson. Josh Simpson gets his kick forward, goes the way now of Drummond. Drummond's tackled on this occasion. The umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt. Goes back to Azevedo. He goes by hand to Eddie Curley. Curley sets sail for home and has missed an opportunity.
He's missed a few today, Eddie Curley.
So the Ombrellas Adventures scoreboard, and it is an interesting scoreline indeed. Still anybody's contest. 57 plays 51 in favour of the Demons.
Yeah, their fingernails just hanging in there are the Blues at the moment. The ball coming out of defence from Simpson. Called that name out a few times today. Simpson. There's four of them out there. Up it goes Latassia. Can't take the mark. Goes the way now of Joey Ugle. It's a big man against the small. The big man wins out into space now. Running onto it is Railways. Or there's Dwayne Neville. Gee, he's playing like a man possessed this afternoon, Glenn. The ball gets dispersed. Goes the way of Railways Boyle. He gets it away now to Kimberley. Kimberley into the half-forward area. Finds a man out there who's set upon pretty quickly when the boundary comes up all too fast. And that player is Eastoff, who makes sure that it goes over the white line on the Francis Street side. So, early stages of the final term, Rovers have regained the lead in the early stages of the final stanza. Can they go on with the job? They've got a 2-goal breeze at their back. The ball coming out of the middle, though, goes the way now of Priolo. Priolo onto his boot, into the half-forward area. Thurston, he's got Messina to beat. Messina is clever, but Thurston is just as clever. Messina dives on top of the ball, tries to give it back to a teammate, but running through is Simpson. A couple of players, a player almost gets drilled into the ground by Kimberley. The umpire is unsighted. The ball goes back the way of Messina, out into space. There's Kimberley. He sees Newton, but decides the other option is to go on his own. He kicks it inside the corridor, but up goes Kobe Simpson and takes a timely mark inside the corridor.
Kobe Simpson steadying the ship. Short pass goes the way of a player there in Glenn Prosser. Glenn Prosser goes back across the ground, looking back towards Kobe Simpson. He plays on now, goes further afield and finds Eastoff. Jack Eastoff with the ball. Puts it on his left boot. Big kick up towards centre wing, looking up there for Joshua Simpson. And the ball player was held. And that was young Tunbridge. Tunbridge was held, so the free kick goes his way. His kick is not a good one. Puts his teammate under pressure, but Vantage rule will play. No, it won't. It'll go back because Antonio Priolo was copped one late.
Yeah,
and
late
high.
tackle. Yep.
Yeah. So Antonio Priolo working hard on centre wing, looking for some movement for the Blues. Priolo, been a good player this year for the Blues. Gets a short pass, finds Mitchell Boyle. Boyle still backward of centre. So Railways trying to keep possession. Trying to get the ball in. They're really struggling kicking goals again this afternoon. Ball goes forward. Rovers player flies high. Once again, Glenn Prosser grabs it. Kicks it back to whence it came. looking out there. He's looking out there for a teammate, but the ball goes out of bounds, and there'll be a boundary throw-in, and the ball will be brought back into play. So the ball will be coming back into play now. Goes the way of the boundary umpire, puts the ball back into play now. Comes back towards the player there in Blake Messina. Goes the way of Priolo. He needs to get rid of the ball and to get rid of it quick. Ball is held to him and the ball will be thrown up. So still anybody's game. 6 points the margin. 5 minutes gone in this final quarter with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants.
The Demons have the lead, and there is again Neville. He's up the ante somewhat this season. Didn't start off that well. Travelling up from Perth, gets it to this player in Simpson. Simpson sees a lead. The lead is from Drummond. Drummond goes one way, then the other. He's not clever enough, though, to beat the bounce on this occasion. Through comes the youngster in Zimmerman. And cleans up for Railways. Into space. He finds Simpson. Still under pressure, though. Simpson gets it back to Zimmerman. Seems like he has a month of Sundays, but he makes it look that way, Zimmerman, as he sends it down the line. He's looking for more, but misses the intended target and kicks it out on the full, right in front of the Railways dugout. So the ball is now with Gabriel Parfitt. The star for the Demons sends it into the half-forward area. Up they go. There's Zimmerman again. He's trying to make up for the error that he caused just a moment ago, but straight down the throat of Clay Azevedo. He was a great player for Rovers last week against Northampton. He's stepping up now for the Demons. When they need him, he kicks inside the corridor. That's a beautiful kick by Azevedo. Is it going to make the distance? Over the back of hands. Comes the way of Dylan Curley. He gets it to a teammate who is unsighted, Glenn, who puts it through for a goal.
So good effort there from Curley, finishing off well. And a very, very important goal in the latter stages of the game. And a very important goal in the early stages of this final.
Was it Thurston that got it off Curley in the end? It was. Curley was inside the goal square, and I think Thurston, the little fella here.
Yep,
he's the one that got it, Glenn.
Okay.
Yep.
So a very important goal there. So well done to the young man, and a good effort. So a very important goal, that one. So now the margin is getting away from Railways.
Player Zavada coming into the game, Glenn, is timely.
So the fact is that we've got an interesting scoreline now, and with thanks to Adrolis Adventures, we can tell you that Rovers are on target to a grand final, boys. Rovers are 9-9, 63. Railways are 7-9, 51.
Oh, as they say, don't put your chickens in the coop
Oh,
just
it's not
yet.
early yet. It's still early days, there's no doubt. Railways can certainly kick a couple of goals.
They certainly can, and they've done that before today.
But I'd always rather be in front than behind
Yep.
at any stage of any game, so you can only take where you're at. So the ball back in the centre. Stephen Pratt puts the ball into the air. Letessia does battle. This time Adam has the best of it. Goes the way of Kimberley to Adamini to Boyle. Boyle gets a kick away under pressure. Goes the way of Moore. Moore soccers the ball forward. It'll come back towards Kimberley. In goes the player there, and Azevedo has the best of it.
Oh,
Breaks
look at
a
that.
tackle.
That's beautiful stuff.
Azevedo gets it out towards Dwayne Neville. He breaks through, gets a handball to Josh Simpson. Simpson goes back to the young player in Azevedo, and Railways can regroup as we see the player there in Letessia goes backwards, finds Williams, who finds Simpson. The ball goes towards the centre wing, and it goes the way there of the player there in Simpson.
Kobe Simpson, he sends it down the wing. Could there be a mark here? The ball over the back, going the way now of Farron Parfitt. He knocks it over to Curley. Curley's pushed in the back over the top of the ball. The umpire is unsighted, and he says, boys, I'll throw it up. Now, metres away from the goal square again for the Demons. The shadows beginning to grow here at the recreation ground. The Demons looking the goods as we head toward the middle stages of the final term. Another goal would be very important for the Red and Blacks as we see a free kick timely go to Simpson from Simpson. So it is Tristan Simpson, former Towns Premiership player. He sends it down in front of the big grandstand here, going back the way of Railways though. Set upon that player. He gets it away now to Boyle. Boyle goes one way, then the other. He sees Kimberley. Kimberley sees the lead from Newton. He almost obliges, but through comes Eastoff and takes a much-needed mark in defence. Eastoff quickly onto his boot. He sees Farron Parfitt on a wing. The player isn't ready for it. It ricochets off his chest and finds the boundary.
So the boundary throw-in in front of the Radio Mumma broadcast box here at Warren Taylor Homes Recreation Ground. Once again, we've got the best seats in the house, and the ball will be thrown back in. So Railways, 9 minutes gone. They trail. They need the next goal to keep in touch.
12-point ball game in favour of the Demons, Glenn.
There goes the ball. Slapped forward goes the way of Joey Ugle. Smothered off the boot. In goes Jesse Moore, fighting hard. And Jesse Moore has the ball held to him. And umpire Stephen Pratt will come in and throw the ball up. So, as Peter mentioned, 12 points the margin, so you need 2 goals to make it even. You need 3 goals to win, so it's a big task for the Blues. This final term with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. Drennan O'Malley Motors game day goes the way of Azevedo. He slaps the ball out, goes the way now back towards Azevedo. Then it goes for the handball to Joey Ugle. Joey Ugle gets a handball back towards Jacob Troy. Jacob Troy plays on quickly, looking for Eddie Curley. Goes the way of Farron Parfitt. Cleverly slaps the ball in front of Joshua Simpson. Joshua Simpson puts it on his left boot, kicks it in towards the forward pocket, looking there for Dylan Curley, but Railways can mop up, or can they? Ball goes the way of Blake Bunter. Ball spills. Picked up now by Dylan Curley.
What a goal!
And that is a big goal. And Dylan Curley has got them across the line. And Dylan Curley gets his first of the afternoon, but a very important goal it was too. And now the margin is 18 points. And it is very, very hard to see Railways coming back from here.
Glenn, I've never seen the Demons in the last couple of years play with as much purpose as they are today. They're backing up each other, they're running on, they seem to read what each other's doing and not relying on that individual skill that they've been accustomed to doing in the past.
Well, we've seen them kick 3 goals in this quarter already, and Railways haven't troubled the scorer. Where last week Rovers also kicked on. They kicked 8 goals in the last quarter. Still time.
Glenn, he's certainly not the best on ground, but one player that certainly has been a catalyst for the Demons today has been Dwayne Neville.
Yes, he's working hard. They're all working hard, as you say. This is a very good team performance, but they do match up well. They've got some skills prior to the game. We were saying they've got stars all over the ground. Unlike Railways, they've got a good, solid team, but they haven't got the stars.
69 plays 51, Glenn. 11 and a half minutes gone in the final term.
But thanks to Adbrollis Adventures, Rovers go forward again. Once again, Chris Scott grabs the ball. One of the favourites for the JJ Clune medal. Gets the kick up towards full forward, but it's cut off by Tom Rowe for Railways. Kicks it up towards half back. But once again, Chris Scott is the man there. So Chris Scott runs back, round, gets a kick forward across the ground and finds Joey Ugle. Joey Ugle setting something up. Rovers in control. Gets the way of Dwayne Neville. Dwayne Neville still at centre half forward, 60 metres from goal.
He could kick it from there, Glenn.
He could go out wide too, looking out there for Joshua Simpson, but he goes straight up the centre, looking for an opportunity. Ball socket by the Rovers player. Ball goes through for a force behind. So on the Abrolhos scoreboard, we can tell you the Abrolhos Adventures scoreboard, it is Rovers 10-10. They lead Railways 7-9.
The ball coming out of defence. Up goes Josh Simpson. Couldn't take the mark. He hits the deck. The ball goes away of his Railways opposite number. Tunbridge, he's been a trooper this afternoon. He sends it down the, down the Francis Street side of the ground. He's looking for a player there who's equal to the task in Edwards. Edwards picks it up. He sends it forward to Boyle. Boyle has a couple to beat. He sends it into space east off his air, but Boyle says, I want that back again. But it only goes away of Kobe Simpson. The 2 Simpsons in defence for the Demons have been solid this afternoon. It goes the way now of Prosser. He too has grown in stature. Gets it back out to Kobe Simpson. On the Francis Street side, he puts it into space. Will Joey Ugle run onto it? He goes one way then the other. He collects it and he finds the sanctuary of the boundary just in time as 2 players set themselves upon him.
Yes, interesting times running out for the Blues in season 2022. In the premiership season, Railways finished on top, clear minor premiers, 2 games clear of Rovers. But it's Rovers who are going to push their way through to a grand final berth against Brigades. So it'll be an interesting contest next week. 2nd against 3rd, as we see Railways. Tunbridge gets the ball forward, looking there for Elliot Delaney. Delaney takes a good strong mark in the centre of the ground. Railways desperate to get a quick goal. Goes the way of Letessia. Letessia is on the 50-metre line. Went to play on, but thought better of it, and just as well he did. So Ryan Letessia came over from Towns this year and played some good footy for the Blues. Gets the ball quick up the ground and finds Jack Cocking, and Jack Cocking is marked 40 metres out.
Have they got a sniff here? Have they got a sniff the Blues?
Jack Cocking has a shot on goal. Jack has kicked a goal this afternoon.
They've struggled to kick it from this distance today, going into the breeze.
Yes, it'll be a tough kick, but it would be an uplifting kick if he can get it. But still, the margin means that they still have to kick 3 more goals after this one. But let's see how he goes. Jack Cocking. There goes his kick. Looks pretty good off the boot, but is offline. It was had the distance, didn't have the accuracy. 1 point, the margin was 1 point result. On the Abrolhos Adventures scoreboard, we see Railways still a long way behind because Rovers are 10-10, and Railways see their scoreboard eventually tick over to 7 goals.
The ball coming out of defence now, going the way of Eastoff. Eastoff deep in defence. Gets it away now to this player in Simpson. Simpson sees space. He goes the way of Gear. Will he play in another premiership? He is a great servant of the Rover Football Club in recent years. Gear sends it out into the wing area in front of our broadcast position. Goes away now of Thurston. Thurston in turn gets it away to the player there in Scott. Scott to Neville. Neville sees space into the full forward area, running out to try and take the mark of the Rovers players. Through goes the big defender. He goes through and collects it, but loses possession. Goes away of Eddie Curley. He snaps on goal, and he has sealed the deal for the Demons.
Eddie Curley gets his third of the afternoon, and as Peter mentioned, if it was ever in doubt, it's not in doubt now. And Rovers get another score on their board, and Abrolhos Adventures has the scoreboard rolling over, so it's a 4-goal lead now, and it would take a miracle for Railways to get back into this contest. Rovers are through to another grand final. Rovers are 11 goals 10. They lead Railways 7 goals 10, so a very handy margin now in favour of the Demons.
Glenn, and I'll probably call it now because I do know a little bit backstories to this. I can tell you right now that this will be Mitchell Boyle's last game for the Railway Football Club. He'll probably play reserves next year. He's not content. He's got a new family, and he's decided that football's not his be-all and end-all anymore. And we still know that Kyle Watts probably might hang up the boots and be wondering if Jesse Moore will go around again.
Yeah, there's quite a few players in the Railways lineup that may be considering their future after this year. They've worked really hard, finished on top, but they have been disappointing in the final series. It's fair to say they were outclassed last week by Brigades, and they've been outclassed this afternoon by Rovers. Ball is on centre wing now. Goes the way of Kimberley. This time it's Peter. Peter back into the side this afternoon for the Blues. Kicks it up forward. A good mark taken there by Blake Messina. He feeds it out to Noah Cashard, and Cashard, kick is a poor one, goes the way of Tazewell. Tazewell can recover. Goes the way of Jacob Troy for Rovers. Jacob Troy goes back in to fight the ball out. The ball goes out of bounds. So time ticking by. 17 minutes gone in this final quarter, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants, as the trainers return from wherever they have been for a Rovers player. Yeah. But they all good. The Rovers players are all out and about, and haven't seen any injuries from Rovers this afternoon.
Parfitt had hit the deck pretty hard. He was friendly fire, Glenn, but he's okay. The ball going forward again for Railways. They're not giving up, are the Blues, but they will finish in third position in season 2022.
After finishing in top position.
Yes.
On the premiership table.
Interesting, Glenn, interesting. And we did say at the beginning of the season, the sides that you see here on paper in round one certainly are going to be quite different come the final round and the finals. The ball into the half-forward area once again, but there he is. Taking another mark is Eastoff. He's been a great servant in this season, being able to play for the Demons when he can. He gets up a little bit ginger on this occasion, gets it away now to the player there in Simpson. Simpson looking for Farron Parfitt, doesn't find that particular player. Glenn, you can have a lot of fun on Sportshed Saturdays. I did with our very own Midwest Academy of Sport chairman in Gary Clark this morning. I was talking about a Australian player that was playing tennis, a new boy on the block, and I asked Darren Patton about him, and we went through a whole resume, talked all about him, and then the next question that Gary asked was, did he know anything about this new Australian player?
Oh, very good. Well,
so Gary, I think, was thinking of his questions and not listening to what was going on. But we had a bit of a laugh, and we always do on a Saturday morning, thanks to Mitchell and Brown Retrovision.
Ball to be thrown up, and it's done again by umpire Pratt. So Railways, the game has run out of time for them, as Rovers go forward again through Dwayne Neville. Dwayne Neville goes by hand, looking for Gabriel Parfitt. Gabriel has been good again this afternoon. Puts it on his left boot in front of Joshua Simpson, and Joshua Simpson is marked deep in the left forward pocket, about 35 metres out, right on the boundary line. So here's an opportunity for Joshua to get a very much needed goal.
He's nailed goals like this before, Glenn.
Well, he certainly has. He hasn't kicked a goal this afternoon, which is unusual for Josh, but he's a very, very good player, as we are aware. So he's born for finals football, is Josh Simpson. So Josh Simpson lining up for goal. Can he get a much needed goal for himself? He's offline. Ball bounces through for a minus score. So on the Abrolhos Adventures scoreboard, Rovers are 11-11. They lead their opponents 7 goals 10. So 11-11 plays 7-10. And Rovers are through to the 2022 grand final in the league competition when they take on Brigades next weekend at WA Country Builders Stadium there out at Wanthella.
Yes, Glenn, it's going to be a big game. Both sides are fast running and they have talent all across the park. Be interesting to see if Jaden Schofield is free to play next week. I hope he is, just so that we have the best of the best out there on the park next week. But we'll be calling everything throughout the day from 8:30 when Sportshed Saturday begins at 8:30 live from the venue, and right throughout the afternoon we'll be with you here on Radio Mama. The ball coming into space now. Gabriel Parfitt, he's played great today, straight through the middle, and the Demons are marching into another grand final.
Gabriel Parfitt gets his third goal of the afternoon, and the scoreboard, as Peter mentioned, rolls on very nicely for the Rovers club, and Gabriel Parfitt has seen another goal on the board for Rovers. So Rovers have really had a very, very strong final quarter, as they did last time when they played Northampton. They kicked 8 goals in the last quarter.
Yeah, they seem to be last quarter specialists recently, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So getting the run on, and they've now kicked 5 goals in this quarter, which is a very, very strong performance when you consider that Railways, we always build Railways up as being the fittest side in the competition. But when you're chasing tail all day, you always look slow. You always look like you had a puff, and Railways are certainly looking like that at the moment.
Ball back in the middle now. Moments remaining in the preliminary final. But the Demons will take on Brigades at WA Country Builders Stadium next week. I hope you can join us, even at the ground. It is a big ground, and it should be... Glenn, and I think there's going to be a few teams that will be competing as well.
It's a really good lineup of sides and clubs, and we'll go through those in a moment. The ball goes the way of Mitchell Boyle, feeds it out towards Drew Tunbridge. He's another one that may be considering his career. He's still a young man, but he may have decided that he's given it his all.
But in footy terms, he's had a few games under his belt, hasn't he?
Goes the way of Elliot Delaney, gets it out there to the player there, and Jesse Adamini. Adamini gets it up towards the forward line. Glenn Prosser gets a handball away, goes the way of Jack Eastoff. Eastoff comes back looking for Jacob Troy. Jacob Troy, can he pick it up? He does so now. Just gets a handball away in the nick of time. Ball running free. Picked up by Blake Tazewell, the big mobile ruckman for the Demons. Gets it in towards centre of the ground. Goes over Azevedo's head. Picked up by Farron Parfitt. Azevado struggling a bit today to handle the ball. Ball comes back. Goes the way of Tristan Simpson. He goes by hand to Jesse Moore. Moore quickly gets it on towards Kimberley. Kimberley by hand to Mitchell Boyle. Boyle breaks across the centre corridor, kicks it up towards full forward, looking up there for the hard-working Jack Cocking. Ball picked up by Bo Simpson. He goes by hand to Glenn Prosser, and Rovers are out of trouble. Ball goes into the centre where Joey Ugle marks.
I'm going through the better players for the Demons as we speak, Glenn, and I have been waxing today because I'm trying to put them in order of performance, but they've been a very even performance by the Red and Blacks.
They have, as we see Tazewell again, goes the way of young Simpson again. This is Kobe on this occasion, so Kobe Simpson gets it up the ground, looking up there for Curley. Dylan Curley slaps the ball forward. In goes Moore. In goes the hard-running player there, and Kyle Watts. And Kyle Watts in his 251st game. This could possibly be his last, I would imagine. And what a servant he has been for the Railways Footy Club.
And for football in Geraldton, he's been a star. The ball goes up in front of the big grandstand here at the recreation ground, and people are just waiting for that final siren to sound to put Railways out of their misery, one would think. The ball going the way of Latasia. He gives it to the player there, and that player is Kimberley. Kimberley in turn to Adamini. I think Adamini will figure predominantly, Glenn, in the Clune medal on Tuesday night, but so too will Chris Scott. And there might be a couple of others also that will be in contention, but I think Chris Scott and that player there in Adamini will figure predominantly on Tuesday night when you can listen to the Clune medal live and local only here on Radio Mama.
Ball's with Jack Cocking. So Jack Cocking still 45 metres out from goal. He'll struggle to kick it from here. So 24 minutes gone in this last quarter. And Jack lining up for another goal. Can he get one through late in the quarter? Beautiful kick. So Jack Cocking gets a straight much belated and needed goal. That's his second goal of the afternoon, and the scoreboard rolls over.
He'd be headed to the big smoke next year, Jack, I'd say, Glenn.
Yes, and we know that Noah Cashard plays a fair bit of footy down that way too, so there's some senior players that may not be here. There may be some young players that may be moved on to continue their career at the Waffle level. As we look at the scoreboard now for Abrolhos Adventures, and it is Rovers, 12 goals, 11. They lead Railways 8-10. And we're well and truly into time on in this last quarter. So it's going to be a big win to Rovers, and Rovers are through to a grand final. And I don't think they had any injuries come out of the game. Dwayne Neville's off now doing some stretches, but he's worked hard. And
probably Shannon Cox will not be lining up for them next week.
Yeah, possibly not. Ball comes the way now of Clay Azevedo. Clay Azevedo gets the handball away, but only as far as Kimberley. Kimberley gets the ball forward, looking there for Elliot Delaney. Delaney for Railways, kicks the ball in towards the forward line, looking for Alex Newton. And Newton has kicked one, or he's kicked two, lining up for another
nice
one.
Kick.
But he's offline on this occasion. Didn't get quite the curve he wanted. So on the scoreboard for Brollis Adventures, Railways go up another point. They trail their opposition. Rovers are 12 goals 11, and Railways are 8 goals 11.
Easthoff in defence now. Gets it across to Gear. Real fan of Gear, as you would know from the call each time I call the Rovers games. Out to the boundary it goes, and it's with Railways again. The Demons know this is in the keeping as things have slowed right down, and Jesse Moore comes in to get one of his final touches, one would think. Jesse Moore now kicks into the half-forward area. Up goes Simpson and takes another mark. He's taken umpteen marks this afternoon as Kobe Simpson. So too has Bo Simpson. So Kobe Simpson out of defence. He finds Curley, Eddie Curley. He'll be dangerous next week, Glenn. So too will his brother Dylan, as the ball goes to this fella and Azevedo. He didn't shine today, but he did last week. But that's the thing with Rovers. They've got a few players that can wax on and wax off, as they say, Glenn.
That's right. The ball's in the centre. Easthoff, he's been good all day. But there's the siren. Rovers are through to a grand final. Railway season has ended. The preliminary final score is Rovers 12-11. Have defeated Railways 8-11, so a 3-goal margin in favour, in fact a 4-goal margin in favour of the Rovers side. 4 goals the difference. Rovers 12-11 have defeated Railways 8-11, and you're tuned to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.